Hello everyone, thanks for joining the tour today, and we're going to be taking a look at the newly renovated bungalows, or otherwise now known as the cottages, which we've gone through about half of them so far. And we're looking at cottages number 4 and 8 at this time, and this is just a view of the balcony. We changed the entrance from being in the middle, and so if you are familiar with the property, there used to be an entrance for 2 rooms in one of these bungalow housing structures, and now each bungalow, each room has their own entrance to the side and a little bit more privacy as well, because we split the balconies. So you don't necessarily have to talk to the neighbor if you don't want to, but you can of course go around if you would like. And moving into the room itself, these are brand new beds and frames and new design with the throw pillows and the standard pillows in the back there. And then you can also see the kitchenette unit that we renovated, and we'll get to in a second. Also, we added a working desk with a charging station, so you have USB and also Type-C there as well, right below the television. And that's for anybody who wants to get some work done, especially those work from home people. And this is a wider view of the room, and I just want to make note of the AC, because these used to be fan cooled rooms, and now we inputted got rid of the louver windows, and so now it's completely sealed up, if you will, with, as far as the windows go, brand new windows. And also want to bring attention to the ceilings. So the ceilings used to be flat, and now we brought them up to an... All right, sorry to cut that off, folks, but we got to get started here. Hope you all are doing well. Happy Sunday. Hope you had a great week last week. Hope you're having a great weekend. And we are going to be getting right into today's topic. And it's going to be an interesting one. So sit back, relax, and we are going to go through this step by step. Not the stream that I had intended to make for today, especially earlier this week, but we had to go there today. And I think this one is an important one, and I'm happy to be doing this, to be talking about this, to be shedding light on this situation, which of course is the Habani Estates in Kingston. But of course, I would love to hear from you all. What city, what state, what country you're coming from. We got to warm up with that as usual. Very, very important that we come together, especially on subject matters of this nature. We got to know where we're coming from, where everybody is sitting on this Sunday. And for those who are watching this on the replay, which I know is most of you all, let us know where you're chiming in from too. I always like to read it in the comment section. And we did have I had such a different show planned, because there's just been some really, really great and positive news throughout Jamaica, especially in hospitality, also in real estate as well. And I wanted to do kind of our variety show, if you will, highlighting these things. A lot of great things happening in crime fighting in the JCF, and I wanted to go into that more. But perhaps at the end we can touch on some of those things, and maybe I do another live stream this week. I don't know. I have a heavy lifting week this week, but there's so much great stuff going on, and I want to share a lot of that with you. A lot of great stuff happening here in Westmoreland and in Negril. You know, man, so many great stuff. I had some great meetings this last week, kind of just getting some inside information, if you will, getting a peek into things that are going to happen, and kind of knowing what's happening on the ground floor. And I of course always love bringing you all in on that sort of thing. But we got to talk about Habani today. And you know, to start with, as we kind of warm up and go into it, I'll give a background on what we're talking about here. I know a lot of people may not even know what I'm talking about, but I want to, before I get into the greetings everybody's putting in the comment section here, you know, I wanted to, I guess, kind of preface things, and I'll probably repeat this before we get into it, in terms of like what I'm trying to accomplish here. And one of the things on this channel and in this community that we've built together is it's education and learning from past mistakes, learning from past situations that have occurred not only in Jamaica but around the world, but of course very much specifically to Jamaica, and learning the lessons uh, from others without having learning it ourselves. And that's one of my main goals here. And of course, I know many of you are sitting out there in the diaspora who are considering, thinking about moving to Jamaica, investing here, trying to figure it out, trying to, as I always say, trying to figure out your Jamaica dream and go along your Jamaica journey. And I try to do my best to put myself in a position to help facilitate in whatever way that I can in creating content, doing these live streams, and also hosting an annual investment conference in November to help you do that. And so when stories of this nature come out, and I'll start from the beginning for those who have no idea what I'm talking about. We'll get to that. For stories of the nature that we're going to be talking about today, it's just one. It's like a huge lesson learned, in for so many people, and it's a really sad situation, especially for those folks who are investors and then also homeowners in this development. And you hate to hear these kind of things, right? We're aware of many of them, and many of them I have brought to the forefront here on this channel, on the live stream, or whether in video content form, of cautionary tales of developers really just not doing what they say they were going to do, mismanaging projects, mismanaging funds. And at the end of the day, a lot of times, one of the biggest hopes is, like, first and foremost, the folks who have paid for these apartments, these houses, whatever have you, that they get what they paid for. That's first, and that's like top of the line. And the other thing is that you like to see is like accountability, but honestly, that's one of the rarities, I would say, that happens in this country, and which is just really sad, is that the folks who are mismanaging these projects, mismanaging funds, whatever have you, there is very little to zero accountability and or recourse for the victims of these situations. And so, today I'd like to use my platform to, again, bring light to this situation. And also, I'm in a very unique position, in the sense that I have a very close friend who is actually one of these victims. And so I have firsthand knowledge about a lot of the things that we're going to talk about. This is not no hearsay. This is not no what I think happened. Like, this is what happened. And I have receipts for everything. I mean, tangible, in my hands, receipts for everything that I'm going to be talking about that happened to my friend. And this is something like I'm really taking personally, because I take it as if this has happened to me, and I have been sitting on this for almost I would say since 2022. I've had a real knowledge of, like, the inside of what has been happening. And I don't know particularly why things have fallen apart, but this project, I mean, it's been mismanaged. There's no question about that. And we're going to get into it. We're going to get into all of it, and we're going to speak from the perspective of what has been reported in the news, and then we're going to also speak from the perspective of what I know from an insider's perspective. And again, I'm not speaking from what I heard or what I think happened. Like, I'm telling you what happened, and I have literally line by line receipts, bank transfers, contracts signed, all of that in my possession, that we're gonna be going and bringing forth today. And I will say, some people say, "Hey, why didn't you talk about this before?" And it's because I didn't have permission to talk about this, and it's not my I can't take that upon myself without getting permission, especially from my very close friend. If they're not comfortable in talking about these things or bringing to the light, then I can't do that. And now that this has broke this week, and in the biggest of last week, I should say, in the biggest of ways, now we can talk about it. And you always want to give especially the developers, you want to give them a chance, you want to give them an opportunity, you want to give them a second chance, you want to give them a third chance, in the hopes of them doing the right thing, and in the hopes of this a project or development going the right way. And so that is another goal of mine in terms of bringing this to the forefront here. I think another goal here too, as in you'll see in the in articles here. I think it's important to humanize these things and to, in a sense, show that there are faces with in terms of the victims who are dealing with this right now. And I'm saying this because like when you go to the comments and these articles are on social media, oh, it's rich people, you know, they deserve that or they can afford this. And this is like, no, these are real people who work very, very hard for to be able to afford this and continue to do so. And this is very, very stressful situation. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself again. I know there are probably a lot of people here like, what am I talking about? Okay, so let's get to the comments real quick, and then we'll get to the articles, and then we'll continue to dive in. So what's going on, Donna? Nice to see you. Happy Sunday, Throp and Thoppers from sunny and warm Ottawa. Big T, what's going on? Mosaic Travels, peace and blessings, everyone. Mystical, happy Sunday from Brooklyn. BK in the house. Donna Bryce says, hit the like on the way in, folks. Yes, we would really, really appreciate that. Chris DDS says, driving from the lakes in Iowa back to Omaha, Nebraska, missing JA right now. I'm glad you're joining us on your drive. Noel, what's going on? Says, hey, Throp, happy Sunday from Toronto, Canada. Delroy, good afternoon from Brampton. Big T, when I saw Gordon Gill, Ari Westmoreland, immediately you came to mind, Throp. I was like, we were talking about this in the last live. Okay, you're talking about that development. I know exactly what you're talking about. I also wanted to talk about that today, but we have other pressing matters to deal with, but we will get to that, Big T. I know exactly what you're talking about. Georgina, good to see you. Nice to have you on, joining us from the DMV area. Peter V, a blessed Sunday afternoon to one and all from sunny Oregon. Peace and prosperity to all. Don Bryce says, quick question before the main agenda, Throp. Are the superior rooms at Travelers renovated? No, they are not. They're half renovated. Put it that way. They're not fully renovated. We wanted to get to them in this off season, but we're just not going to make it. We're just not going to make it. We're looking into doing it in the fall, and we'll take it from there. The main thing that's not renovated, we did a renovation on the rooms. The main thing that's not renovated in the superiors are the bathrooms. So that's just one thing that I wish we were able to do, but time is definitely a big factor for us right now. Jay Fitz says, hi, Throp and family, checking in from Atlanta. Good to see you, Jay Fitz. Joe, hi, Canada, Montreal. Happy Sunday to everyone. Buffalo Soldier, great Sunday to you as well. Limitless Podcast, good to have you with us. The Foreign Speculator. Hello, Throp. Greetings, London in the house. Awesome. Cassine, hi, Throp. Chiming in from Northport, Florida, USA. Okay, great to see everybody. Let's also get some other housekeeping out the way while we're here. We are doing a special here, Travelers, totally locally Negril getaway. And if you're Jamaican residents, you get 35% off when booking before June 30th. And we'd love to have you. And if you're interested and I want to look more into it, you can visit us at tbr.travel. If you have any questions, you can email reservations@tbresorts.com. Again, this is going until June 30th. Would love to have you here at Travelers. We are going to be talking. Oh yeah, there's so much. We are going to be talking about. Let me just front load this now. The Four Z's Villa, which I had we've presented it several times here on the podcast, but we're going to visit this later. And this is you can go to my website, Throp Media, and this is one of our featured real estate opportunities that are for sale here. So this is in Negril on the west end, 1.35 million USD. If you're interested, you can go to thropmedia.com. I'm going to throw this in the comment section here. And you can just fill out the form. You want some more information, you want to do a tour, whatever have you, we got you. You can go to the website, check it out. 1.35 million US, 9,526 square feet. The house is approximately 4,300 square feet. There's a basement, ground floor, first floor, and rooftop that you can see the ocean from. And let me see if I can see the pictures. And you can see, just showing you what it looks like from the outside. Beautiful modern architecture. Literally 5 minutes from the beach. This is the property. That's the driveway. That's the front entrance. Beautiful garden. Love. That's a huge pivot door. You can't really tell without somebody standing there, but that door is very, very tall and huge, which I really, really like about this. Is the living room. Beautiful kitchen as well. Very nicely designed. I like all of the fixtures that's here. And we have a video coming out on this next Saturday. And we have a walkthrough with real estate extraordinaire Maura Watson, as well as a designer in Iman Stewart. She's been on the podcast before, and she really lays out the possibilities about what you can turn this into, where you can put your bed, and what kind of design that you can go with. And the way this is designed, and the way I look at it, is like it really is, in a way, a blank canvas with four walls. Like you can make this just very customizable into whatever you want. And I think the location is great. As I mentioned, you have the view of the sea from the rooftop, and just a lot of possibilities here. So you can check it out. I put the link in the comment section there. If you have any questions, you can fill out the questionnaire form, and we'd be more than happy to get you information on the Four Z's villa here in Negril. Okay, let's move to the subject at hand. All right, so where shall we start? So let's talk about the property to begin with. So we're talking about Habani Estates in Kingston. Let me see if I can show you where it is. So the location is amazing. This is essentially right next to the U.S. Embassy. I don't even know if satellite's gonna show us this. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Okay, it does show it to us. All right, Habani. This is the U.S. Embassy. Okay, got it. All right. I don't know Kingston from aerial as well as I do Negril, as you can imagine. All right, so this is the U.S. Embassy here. If you all kind of know the area a little bit, this is Habani Estates right here. Almost certain. I think this has to be it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, this is 12 units. So this has to be it. And great location, fantastic location. You're right in the heart of it. This is Old Hope Road here. UE is over here. Mona campus, Bob Marley Museum, office of the Prime Minister. Devon House is somewhere around here. Forgive me. Like I said, I don't know Ariel Kingston as well as I do Montego Bay and Negril. So that is the aerial. Just give you an idea of where it's located. So I'm using Sotheby Realty's website to show you it. Their website is not working. I don't know why. I tried to go to it, but it is down. And this is just giving you an idea of what it's like, what it's supposed to be. Luxury is defined as a quiet. Let me not read that. Let me just give you the specs. So site features 30-foot setback between villas, 15-foot setback from the boundary, water tank. It's 4 and 5 bedroom villas. So the 4-bedroom villas comes with 2-car accessed via ramp and forecourt with 2 parking spaces. 5-bedroom comes with 3-car garage. Let's go to some pictures here. And I'm just trying to build context here, so you really get an understanding of how spectacular that this property was supposed to be, and what the buyers, homeowners were sold on. And this is supposed to be the staple premier real estate location development in Kingston. And when I talked to back when they first got started, when I talked to realtors about this, it was just like it was the place. Sorry, spit all over my mic. It was the place to that they wanted to sell, that they wanted to be a part of. And as you can see, these are the renditions. Beautiful, 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 beautiful place. And so let me see if I could get the see if we can get the pricing here. Not seeing it. Let's see if we go to Century 21. So the pricing is 4-bedroom, 8,000 square feet going. Okay. Yeah. So the 4-bedroom is going for 1.8 million US and the 5-bedroom is going for 2 million US. All right. So those are the prices. These are the layouts here. And you can kind of get a sense here. Let me throw it in there. T. O'Neill says, very well put. High-end luxury, tropical, modern villa located in the city. And yes, and in the heart of the city. Well put, well said. All right. So you guys get a sense of what this is. Putting it in the comment section. So that's Century 21 and Sotheby's. I threw that in there for you. Okay. So now you have an idea of the development. You have an idea of why people were interested in this and what they're selling essentially. I got so many tabs open here. So let's go to the first. I just want to go to the first article that I found. I think it was June 4th, if I'm not mistaken, that this story broke. And I think I'm taking my time because I think the timeline is important. And yeah, timeline is very, very important. Because, and I know people are, it's election season and people are making this into a political thing, which there is an argument for it being political. And but that's not what I'm here for at all. I'm here for this community more than anything else, and for us to very much learn from. And then I'm also here, I would say, for the victims, right? So let's go to, all right. I'm going to bring up an article from June 4th. This is on Loop, and then I'm going to bring up a statement by the Jamaica Stock Exchange. So let's go to this first one here. So this is on Loop. Sagicor takes control of Habani Estates lots. First Rock seeks refinance. So First Rock is the company that put this together. So it'll explain. All right, let me shut up and just read. Okay, Sagicor Bank Jamaica has taken possession of the remaining lots of Habani Estates residential complex, a luxury Kingston 6 development by First Rock Real Estate Investments Limited, following unsuccessful talks over a maturing credit facility. Located at 13 Bamboo Avenue, Habani Estate comprises of 12 standalone villas and was marked by First Rock as a secure, upscale enclave for ultra-high net worth individuals. The gated development features expansive villas spanning between 8,400 and 8,700 square feet, with amenities tailored to high-end buyers. In a statement issued this morning, Sagicor said it made the difficult decision to place the lands under mortgages for the Habani Estates development into receivership, citing months of good faith negotiations. This outcome is a result of extensive dialogue and compromise, the bank said. Our responsibility extends not just to our partners, but also to our clients, employees, shareholders, and the broader community. In response, First Rock confirmed that it is working to refinance the outstanding facility. Given the maturity of the aforementioned Sagicor Bank facility, First Rock has engaged with a financial institution with a view to fully repaying the facility. the company said in a notice via the Jamaica Stock Exchange. First Rock further said that the Habani project is 90% complete with practical completion already obtained and a loan to value ratio of 45%. 90% complete, huh? All right, let's keep rolling here. The company said it expects to finalize new financing shortly and complete the project within 3 months. We've heard this before. We're going to go back to that. Habani is the only development complex of its kind which provided the ultra wealthy with a safe, secure, central location in the heart of Kingston, First Rock noted. The company also reported a wait list of 3 unsold units, which it intends to market once refinancing is secured. All right. I didn't mean to go do this, but let's go. First Rock sets 2025 for Habani. This is October 2024. And mind you, what I just read you was June 4th, 2025. First Rock Real Estate Investments Limited has got an extension of its loan from Sagicor Bank, Jamaica, to complete its Habani Estates development in St. Andrew that is now set to be delivered in early 2025. I think we can see that that is completely untrue because that has not happened and it has not been delivered, nor has it been completed. Like I said, we've heard this before. And I can go even further back to other news articles back to 2023 saying the same thing. It's going to be done in X amount of months. And this was also told to the homeowners who put down a lot of money. And we're going to get into that in a second. So let me finish reading here. That's a word from First Rock Real Estate Director Ryan Reed, who has been leading the First Rock group of companies with his co-founder, Dr. Michael Banbury. The Habani Estates project is First Rock's first development project, which aimed to sell 12 townhouses priced at between 1.8 million to 2 million US dollars, each that were originally scheduled to be completed by the third quarter of 2022. So I also want to pause here and say that is when I first visited Habani Estates for myself, seeing it with my own eyes and being extremely surprised at where it was, a project that was supposed to be completed in that same year. And I was like, this is when my antennas went up. And I was like, this is a completely mismanaged project. And this is 3 years ago. And the project is still not complete. Development is still not complete and continues to be very mismanaged. But let's continue. This development is located behind the United States Embassy on Bamboo Avenue in St. Andrew. However, that timeline was affected by numerous factors over the last 2 years, which resulted in the project being delayed. Now, the company is moving with expediency to complete the development and sell the units to realize a return. Sagicor Bank approved the loan extension early this year in March. A nominated subcontractor has now been on board to drive the further completion. Given that these are standalone homes, we expect to complete delivery of the remaining homes by early 2025, Reed explained in an email. What happened again? We are in officially, I wouldn't say late 2025, but we are in the second half of 2025, and we are still not there yet. But let us continue. First Rock Real Estate began its foray into development of real estate with the Habani Estates project when it broke ground in mid 2021 and secured a $10 million US dollar loan split into 2 facilities from Sagicor Bank in March and May 2022 for 2 years to the project. Since then, First Rock prepaid $1.24 million in January on its Habani alone as it closed the first sale of the unit in the project. However, First Rock's first quarter financials revealed that the cost of sale related to its property inventory was $1.65 million. There was also a lull in construction activity at the site earlier this year, which I want to talk about too. After we commenced repayment of the Sagicor facility earlier this year, bringing the principal down to under $9 million, the bank granted an extension. Further discussions are underway to align further repayments with the projected completion of sales of the remaining Habani units. First Rock Real Estate has been shifting its focus away from Jamaica to other Caribbean markets in recent times due to the slowdown in the domestic market. The company, which had announced its Bone Chance development at Brompton Road, New Kingston, St. Andrew in February 2023, has since decided to rescope the project. It is now focusing on the Cayman Islands and Costa Rica for perspective growth opportunities. First Rock completed development of a KFC restaurant in El Roble, Costa Rica, and signed a 20-year lease agreement in January before divesting the units in its Torres de Heredia residential development in Costa Rica this past February. It then announced in August that it had signed an agreement to acquire commercial property in Georgetown, Cayman Islands. FREI, though its subsidiary First Rock Capital Cayman has entered an agreement to acquire fully tenanted investment property in Grand Cayman, which is intended to significantly bolster the group's rental income before going forward. This will represent the largest acquisition to date. Plans to relocate the group's headquarters have been placed on hold. The First Rock director responded in its Cayman venture. Okay. These moves came at a time the company had 12.07 million US dollars in loans due this year and 10.2 million in investment property held for sale at the start of the year. Reed mentioned that the company will seek refinance and repay some of the maturing debts while tackling some of the new prospects that lie ahead for the real estate business with 57.18 million in assets. That's US dollars. First Rock Real Estate has had a tough first half of 2024 as lower unrealized gains from its investment properties pushed into a $779,105 net loss compared to a $627,844 net profit in the prior period. Despite these losses, the company still boasts $34.808 million in shareholders' equity and stable debt ratios. First Rock Group Limited, formerly First Rock Capital Resources Limited management company, our investment manager of First Rock Real Estate, is currently benefiting from the growth in First Rock Real Estate's asset base under the revised management agreement, where it earns a 1.8% management fee. This is in comparison to the previous 2% management fee, which was charged on a net asset value or shareholder equity up to September 2021. That has resulted in a management fee nearly doubling from 677,000 US in 2021 to 1.1 billion in 2023. First Rock Group returned to the court on October 2nd in its case against former executive director and vice president of real estate, Pierre Shirley. According to the claim form submitted in the Supreme Court of Jamaica in October 2022, Shirley refused to satisfy and repay $32.62 million owing under the staff loan policy and employee agreement dated July 2019. The former First Rock executive assessed the facility to borrow $41.19 million, but has not repaid the excess sums after leaving the company in March of 2022. First Rock Group is seeking at least $32.56 million to be repaid at a commercial interest rate of 13%, starting from November 2022 until it's repaid. Shirley currently resides in Florida, where he works as an agent for the New York Life Insurance Company. Okay, we got a lot of context there, and I thought it was just important and also very, very funny that these public promises continue to be broken. And again, I can go even further back, showing that it was said that it would be done by this date, it would be done by that date, and it's just not the case. So let's fast forward. Let's bring it back to the current time. So this is the statement that that was put out on the JC website. First Rock Real Estate Investments Limited, First Rock, notice of intent to refinance Sagicor Bank Credit Facility, Habani Estate Development. This came out June 4th, 2025 at 4:41 a.m. First Rock Real Estate Investment, First Rock, that's their ticker symbol, I'm assuming, hereby advises of its intent to refinance the credit facility extended by Sagicor Bank Jamaica Limited surrounding the development of its Habani Estate residential complex located at 13 Bamboo Avenue, Kingston 6. Given the maturity of the aforementioned Sagicor Bank facility, First Rock has engaged with a financial institution with a view to fully repaying the facility. Currently, Sagicor has taken possession of the remaining lots. Habani Estate is luxury Kingston 6 development with 12 standalone villas. The project currently stands at 90% complete, with practical completion having been obtained with the development already. The current loan to value is 45%. Or we read this already. We don't got to go through that, but that's essentially the same statement. All right. So we have, let me see if there's any other thing that I want to. All right. So I think we are more or less fully up to date. You know what? Let one more article, and then we'll get into my thing. So, actually, before we get into it, so it was said here in this article. I think it was this article. Um, it was, I forget what year. It was in this article somewhere, but they were just basically saying that there was no activity witness on site. And so that was like the second red flag that went up in my mind when I went there. I think this was 2022, if I'm not mistaken. 2022, 23. And that was that for a development that was scheduled to have been completed already, you would think you'd see a buzz, and I've been fortunate enough to been on sites of developments that were successful and that you kind of saw and felt things were going well. Um, the Deanery is one of them. That was like the one of the first real estate videos that I did, and I had the privilege of going there during construction. I mean, I think they were only on the second floor. I think it's an 8-story building, and you felt it. You know what I'm saying? Like you felt as if things were happening. The contractors were there, trucks were moving in and out of the site. Everybody had hard hats on, wheelbarrows were going, dust was flying, saws were sawing things, steel was being bent. You saw backhoes, like there was action, there was things happening. Going back to when I first went to Habani, it was the opposite. I was told I couldn't take any pictures. I couldn't take any videos. Like that was like, I was like, what? Why can't I do that? And I don't think they knew who I was and at that time or what I did. And anyway, I was told that that couldn't happen. So I didn't, I respected that. And then the other thing was the observation that there was little to no activity. It was like the most minor of things happening. I mean, like people sweeping, doing the most minimal things, so at least they could show the investors, future homeowners, hey, something happening, something's going on. But like I've seen this, like like my BS radar was at an all-time high. And also what was very unfortunate was they and scary, I would say more scary than unfortunate, as they were asking for more money. And to me, before this whole situation, like when you think of First Rock, at least like my mind, you think of a great Jamaican financial institution. And when I was like, they're having money problems, they're asking you for more money that you've already put into this. This is my friend, and I know a lot of people are just joining. This is kind of getting into my inside information and being a part of this, quote unquote, from an insider's perspective. And my very close friend who owns a property and bought into this, I was like questioning, like, why are they asking this great Jamaican financial institution? Again, my mind and my heart, this is what I thought of it. This great Jamaican financial institution is having money problems and asking for more money than was agreed to be paid over at that current time. And of course, you as a future homeowner and being a part of a project like this is like, you want to be a facilitator. You want this project to get done as quickly as possible and on time. And you don't want to hinder it in any way possible. And so, the money was given over, money was transferred over in the hopes that the project would be completed in X time. And as we can see now, it's still not complete. And so it's just like, again, just kind of putting my radar up there and kind of getting into the aspect of, hey, what can you learn from this? How can I make sure that I'm not in a position to be maybe swindle is too far of a word, but to just be in a situation of this nature where you paid for something, a significant amount of money, and you are not getting in return, you're not getting what you paid for, not only in the timeline, but in terms of, and it's also looking like you're going to overpay at the end of the day. And we'll get into the overpay again from my friend's perspective and what he has provided for me as far as information and knowledge on this situation. So, and of course, anybody have any questions, please put it in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them as clearly as I can, as accurately as I can. And but I want to say these are the things that I would say are important to look for in being part of these developments, and of course, and investing in these developments, right? And we all understand there's a risk involved in this, right? And you are paying for something that does not exist yet. Let's be clear about that. Like, Habani is not built. It wasn't built. There was no shovels in the ground when the down payment was made on this property. And you are expecting the development to go through. And the main thing that you're relying on, I would say, is, in again, let me just say this from my perspective. Like, I'm thinking like this is an institution. This is a Jamaican financial institution that you think is stable. It's at the forefront of financial savviness and managing money, managing projects, and it's got the best and bright. That's like, this is my assumption, right? And when you think of these Jamaican institutions, and you think that it's not like some little man, so to speak, that has never done this before in his life, that is trying a thing, right? And that is going to hope that this works out, and they're going to people to ask them for money to try this thing that they haven't done before. This is, again, a in my mind going into this, a strong Jamaican financial institution that has the resources to do this. They have the capability, they have the individuals, they have the leadership to do it. But that hasn't been the case. And ultimately, like, this is just a big mess. This is a huge mess. And this is, I mean, for now, it is for sure a black eye on Jamaica's real estate situation. And of course, I am a Jamaica advocate for real estate, for investing here, and for moving here, for living here. And I hate doing stuff like this, and I hate bringing stuff like this to light, but like, it has to be talked about. And I think it's so important to have discussions of this nature to kind of understand as best we can how we ended up here. And I would absolutely love if they would be open to it, to talk with the leadership of the development and find out from their perspective how we got here. How could we have learned from this? How could we have avoided a situation? How could this have been a situation where this project was delivered on time and on budget, and that people like my friend and others who have bought these homes should be living in them now, and they should be calling that place their home, but they're not. And you got to also think, like, this is a big investment, and people are making big plans around their life and putting this off and putting that off, with the assumption that they're going to be moving into their home, and they're going to have this home, and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. But all of that is thrown out the window because the project is very poorly managed project at the end of the day. And we got to call a spade a spade. And again, I would love to have these folks on. I would love to have them be to come on the show, whether a podcast or a live stream, to really find out what happened here and what went wrong. And and there's a multitude of failures, like, just from the outside in, right? There's a multitude of failures that you can say is like, how, I don't know if there was, maybe the insiders can say this, were there inspections done to, because when you're doing a development and you're getting money and you're getting getting loans, especially from financial institutions, like you have to. And it's funny because I was in on a meeting yesterday with an architect that is part of a very, very big project here in Jamaica. And they were just telling me about how stringent they are in terms of getting and releasing funds. Because if you imagine, like, say the project is $100,000, for example, and you're not going to get the, and it costs $100,000, and you're taking out the $100,000, like you're not going to get the full $100,000 as a developer. You're going to get pieces, and you get the next piece when you complete the first piece, and that's how accountabilities happen. And I'm sure that I would assume that this development falls under that category. I could be wrong, but I would assume a development of this nature and of this stature, they have certain contingencies that they have to meet in order to get that next round of funding. And inspectors come in, quantity survey would be a part of that, architect would be a part of that. And so it seems like I would think that none of the, at least a lot of that has not happened. And there has been like a multitude of failures in terms of there should have been some catch nets here to, for it to get to this point where it's just not happening, right? And and you have to blame the leader. You have to blame leadership here. And there has to be, and at least, if something that I'm in charge of, like I'm going to be like, yo, I messed up here, and I did not say I did not do what I said I was going to do. And I didn't come through on my promise. And here's why. And this is what we're going to do to fix it. This is what we're going to do to make this right. And so, again, I would love to hear from those folks and hear what they have to say about this. And perhaps at some point in the future, we will have them on the podcast and we can find out what really, really happened. But again, we're going to get into some receipts here, and you can make sense of the nonsense based on what I'm presenting and the facts and the line items that I'll be presenting shortly. All right, let's get into some comments here, some questions. I know they're coming in fiercely, and we're going to move on to the next part of this discussion. Chris Charles says, mash the like button. Yes, please do that. That would really be appreciated. Golden Woman, this is plain overbuild and in inflated market price. Nicola says, hello, Throp and Throppers. Happy Sunday from Texas. Nice to have you. Suzette, good to see you as always. Thanks for being on. The Foreign Speculator. A collapse of development is a common thing. One of the biggest risks in development. Yes, I don't want to put this as a collapse at this point. Sagicor taking over it, I do think is a good thing. Like, so let's think back to, I don't know, you guys remember the Palmyra in Montego Bay? It was devastating story. I mean, it was slated to be I forget what their tagline was, but it was essentially slated to be the luxury residence, not only in Jamaica, but in the Caribbean. Like, I forget how many stories it was. And I mean, it was the biggest buzz. This is close to, it's gotta be almost 20 years ago when this thing started. This is almost when I first moved to Jamaica. And one of my dad's friends, she bought into it. I think she bought a penthouse. And this thing was an empty shell. It was on the, what do you call that highway? On the North Coast Highway, kind of in Iron Shore. And back then, when it fell apart, ran out of money, whatever have you, it was this shell. It was this shell of a tower that you drove past in the day, and then at night it was pitch black because they didn't have electricity. And it was such a black eye on Jamaica. It was such a black eye on Jamaican real estate. And at that time, I had nothing to do with real estate, wasn't involved at all. And I remember when things started, when my dad's friend, when she was like, they had gotten to a certain part where the building was finished, but they were doing what, I don't know if you could call this load management, but there'd be certain days it would have electricity. The property itself would have electricity, and there'd be certain days that it wouldn't. And she lived on like the 10th or 11th floor. She's like, you want to come over, take a look? And so the day we went to visit, there was no electricity.
So we had to walk all those flight of stairs. I mean, it was hot in those hallways. It was obviously no electricity, no fan once we got up there, but it was such a beautiful view. And I'm just saying, like, that was again a huge black eye. And this was went on for years, years and years and years and years until Sagicor took over, and now it's the Jewel Grand, very very successful property, beautiful, gorgeous. I went there for the I don't know how many years ago, but I went there for the grand opening. My dad's friend was there, and she was very happy. And it turned into a success story eventually at the end of the day after Sagicor took it over. And kudos to them. So I say that to say I don't think this is a collapse. There's still it's still happening, it's still going on. People are trying to figure it out, but nonetheless, we shouldn't be here. This seems very very avoidable, and this is not something that a situation that the homeowners should be involved in at this point. All right, let's keep going here. These houses were way too overpriced in the suburbs of Kingston without the beach. You can't price homes the way they did. I wouldn't for Eva, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. For Eva says, imagine spending $2 million to have neighbors right beside you. It's not honestly, it's not overpriced. It's not it, I these homes they're going to go up in value. And I do honestly, like, in my heart of hearts, like, I do believe this thing is going to be completed and it'll finish. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm very curious to see. And so anyway, the value of these homes are going to go up exponentially. The location it's prime location, and you're not getting that much space in Kingston. You're just not. You're in Kingston now. It's apartments. That's what you're getting. You're getting apartments. You're not getting villas or homes. I'm generalizing here. Please, nobody kill me. I'm generalizing here. But for the most part, you're not getting 8,000 square feet of space to live. Like, it's just not happening. So you're gonna pay a price for that. And I think these things are going to go up in value exponentially eventually. Jeff says this is a similar issue that is happening in Canada. Pre-sales are falling since new existing units are selling at a lower price per square foot pricing. So, how do I say that? I don't think that's happened. I think this was mismanaged. I think the funds were mismanaged. And there's a lot of evidence to point to that. Tons and tons of evidence to point to that. And it should be looked into with a fine-tooth comb. Golden Woman says, very mismanaged. Sagicor should not have granted a loan from the start. I essentially said that as well. I don't know. Yeah. And we all know how hard it is to get a loan from some of these banks, right? And they're just throwing money away at these guys, and they're not finishing the project, and they haven't done it. So interesting. Trisha, good to see you. Chiming in from Fort Lauderdale. Limitless podcast. We did a video on Habani and First Rock recently. What did you do the video on, Limitless? What was it about? Golden Woman says real estate value is not based on imagination. The foreign speculator, he was ensnared in a lobby trap from the looks of, booby trap from the looks of it. Yeah, it's some sort of trap. T. O'Neill says, what was the bidding process and bill of quantities look like? What went wrong between planning and implementation? Good question. I don't have the answers to that. I don't have the answers to either of those questions. Like I said, we're going to get into a little bit of a line item and accounting in a second, and you can make sense of the nonsense. I'll leave it at that. Jeff Holman says, developers in trouble, higher than expected interest rates, building the wrong type of housing, and slowdown in the economy. The good times are over for now. Jamaica is not immune. Again, I tend to disagree, because there was a lot of money paid over into this project. I don't know how much, but it's millions of dollars. Am I going to go as far as saying that, let me not get sued here. but millions of dollars have been put into this project. Put it that way, and based on that, it should have been completed, and it's not, right? And this is many years. They're many years behind schedule, and it's again, it seems that like this thing was mismanaged, and it's just a real mess, unfortunately. Chi O'Neill says, could it be that by the time the project was designed and approved, construction and material costs gone up, so the cost per square foot changed? You guys are being very generous with your assumption scenarios here. Very generous. But we're gonna get maybe I need to get into what I gotta say, and we can take it from there. Hey, Throp, Josh from the UK. We got planning approval finally for our modular project in Mobay. Hoping to break ground next month. Awesome. Congratulations, guys. Congrats. I can't wait to tell everybody about your project and what you guys are doing. Really exciting stuff, and love to see this. And these are the kind of stories that I want to tell and want to talk about. But we also got to talk about the challenging ones as well. Before speculators says, in my opinion, greed inspires all contractors and developers to aim for higher end market rather than a middle class market, which means success is so much fragile. If only that was the plot, was a high rise. How much do you think a similar house should be priced in that area? I mean, it's going to be around, for that type of architecture and that square footage, it's going to be around that price. It's going to be $1 million change. It's just the cost per square foot in Kingston is just very high to begin with. I wouldn't say high. It just is what it is. Put it that way. I can't even say high. It just kind of is what it is. Miss Tony Yolanda says poor project management and for sure financial. Trevor Black says Palmyra Springs in mind. Having said that, this development still represents great value. Yes, I believe so. Getting the workers to work could be a factor, and getting proper tradesmen. We're going to get into that shortly. Sagicor need to tighten up their credit guidelines and appraisal reviews. I think that's that's a good point. Double square footage doesn't automatically mean double the price. We did the video on the Habani debacle and read through some of the financials and articles. Awesome. Throw it in the comments here, Limitless Podcast. I'm not going that far, but if people are interested, throw it in the comments. Jay Fitz, could the rise in interest rates be the problem? In the States, these type of facilities generally do not have long-term interest rates. They are generally reset after a few months. Remember, this was supposed to be completed in 2022. We are 3 years late at this point. Yes. I was like, am I doing the math right? We're 3 years late at this point. So, 22, 23, 24. Yeah. So, like, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Trevor Black says Sunset Town Center in Montego Bay that never happened. Hotel/condominium and spa phase called Finion on the Ridge. None of this was built. I haven't heard about that one. Limitless Podcast says Sagicor gets double whammy as they have an equity stake in the company. Jamaica says a niche market while offering advantages like less competition and the ability to focus on specific customer needs can face challenges like limited market size and potential revenue. Trevor Black's Harmony Cove 20 years later just being built. I see. Jamaica, if the niche is too small, it might not generate enough clientele to afford luxury properties, potentially impacting affordability and market demand. So, all right. What I want to get into next about this is let's get into my friend's specific situation. And hold on, before we do that, there's an article. All right, let's read this last article, and then I'll get into what I'm going to get into. So this came out Friday, June 6th. This is the Gleaner, and it was written by Stephen Jackson, senior business reporter. And it reads, let me throw this in the comments. It reads, First Rock Real Estate Investment Limited announced plans to regain possession of the remaining lots at its Habani Estate residential complex from Sagicor Bank, Jamaica. Habani Estate is high-priced luxury residential development that's been beset by delays. The move comes after Sagicor Bank took control of the lots due to non-payment of a loan. First Rock said in a market filing this week that it intends to pay off the loan with financing from financial institutions, which it did not name. The Habani project's current loan to value is 45%. First Rock Group Chairman Ryan Reed told the Financial Gleaner. This means that the outstanding loan on the Habani estate is just under half of the property's total market value. The valuation of the property prepared by the NAI Jamaica Lang, Ford, and Brown Limited and seen by the Financial Gleaner equates to 24.5 million US dollars. The project was initially backed by a 10.5 million US dollar loan from Sagicor. Habani Estate, located on Bamboo Avenue in Kingston, features 12 villas, each spanning 8,400 to 8,700 square feet. The units entered the market at over $2 million per unit, which pushed the limits of the luxury market. At current exchange rates, that is a price equivalent to more than 320 million Jamaican dollars per villa. Habani Estate represents First Rock's first major development project, with construction commencing in mid-2021. Before the project was launched 4 years ago, few properties offered modern rectangular white-walled motifs. The developers said that while alternative properties exist, Habani is the only development complex of its kind, as it provides a safe, secure, and central location. First Rock says the development is 90% complete. I'll put a huge asterisk next to that. I was there in March. No, I was there in April. Last time I saw it. And again, little concerned with how far along they were at that point. And I think even at that point, they were told, my friend was like, we're gonna move in. Legit. This is what he told me. He's already planning a June housewarming party. That was like the vibe in April, like, because you were told like this thing was gonna be, everything was gonna be done and and it just wasn't, it isn't done. So we'll see. It remains optimistic about finalizing the complex, indicating that once the new financier is in place, it expects to wrap up the project within 3 months. Again, we've heard this so many times. I mean, I can go back to article after article. You guys can look it up if you want. This has been stated at least once a year, every year since this project commenced, that it would be done in X amount of time, and it just hasn't been. And it's just like, what is the difference? Like, why should anyone believe you? Why should anyone listen to you now? And all of those times you have been just egregiously wrong. Egregiously. And it's just like, I would love to know what's the difference now. The company said there is currently a waiting list for the unsold units, which they plan to put on the market at the appropriate time. First Rock Real Estate Investment Limited holds over $57 million US dollars, that is, in total assets. The company has been restructuring its portfolio, focusing on acquiring premium, income-generating commercial assets across the region. We previously advised in March that First Rock was pivoting away from developments and toward real estate investment trust as a new operating model that will see the company banking instead of rental income. I mean, good luck with that. All right. Let's get some comments and then we'll keep rolling here. Ronnie says, though it's no comfort, all investments carry a certain amount of risk. As the stock market has shown lately, as someone who lost money when Eagle Commercial failed, mismanagement happens all over. Yeah, I said this earlier. You might have missed it, but there's an inherent risk with all of this. You know, even with this, again, I want to reemphasize, you're buying into something that doesn't exist. There is no when my friend and all the other future homeowners who are part of this development, there was nothing. There was no shovels in the ground. There was no buildings. There's no four walls. Nothing. They paid into this in doing a risk, and as you do with any new development, they're not coming in. They're seeing the house and like, okay, $1 million. Here's $1 million. Here's a title. Here's a deed. Whatever it is, you can move in tomorrow. It doesn't exist. So we get it. I mean, thank you for bringing that up again. We understand that. Again, I think one of the main reasons why I'm bringing this up as well is this, like, it's another cautionary tale of investing in Jamaica, investing in real estate, and unfortunately, it has happened again, right? And this is not. I wouldn't say this is not for me saying like, hey, don't invest in Jamaica. No, the opposite. It's just like we got to learn from these things, you know, and we got to learn from others. And I'm very, very sorry that this happened to my friend. And like I said earlier, like I feel like it happened to me. Again, I am taking this personally because this is somebody who I care about, and I know the stress and the trials and tribulations that he has been gone to get to this point, to be able to put himself in a position to afford a place of this nature, and then to be in this and to be screwed around like this. Like, this is just completely not cool. Not cool at all. And it's important to shed light on this for the sake of my friend, of course, but then also for the sake of all of you out there who are looking to invest in Jamaica, looking to move here, looking to buy their own piece of the rock. And it's certain little red flags that we want to look for. And, you know, one of these things is like, is the leadership. And it's also like, not the leadership just from the top, but it's also like the leadership in the contractors as well. Like, you know, what is, like, are they competent? And these things are hard to like come to the conclusion of, like, and a lot of it is like, you got to use your instinct. Yes, do your research on them. Listen to your gut. You know, if they are like, I really don't appreciate like an overly salesy person in any context of life, and that is overselling themselves or overselling the project or whatever that they're doing. I'm not saying that that's what happened here, but this is like kind of like in my own experience, like my red flags go up when I'm in touch with a person like that. They're just making this thing sound too good to be true. Again, I'm not attributing that to what happened here. I'm just saying generally, like, we want to look out for these things, and then, you know, do your sniff test, right? This is supposed to be, perhaps you're going into something like this is supposed to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, right? And you're going to the site, you're going to the development, and you're expecting there to be action. You're expecting there things to be happening when you walk on this property. And you go there and you see one guy with a wheelbarrow, some guy sweeping up, maybe a gardener, and you're like, maybe even a guy sleeping, and you're not the foreman, you're not the contractor, but you're somebody who's vested in this, and you expect things to be moving a lot further along, and you expect action to be happening. And I also, again, want to juxtapose this again to my own personal experience. When I went to the deanery, I think this was 2022, the vineyards at the deanery, vineyards in Vineyard Town. And when I went there, it's just like, it was buzzing. You know, you could tell like these people, they wanted to complete this project on time and under budget, you know, because time is money. Time is money. And they were moving. And very, very different situation here. And you know, when I went there in 2022, when I went there in April, I was just like, what is going on here? Both times. I was like, man, this is like ridiculous. You know, you see one or two guys doing this and doing that. And it's like, I'm not falling for that. I'm not, like, there's nothing happening. You guys might as well close up shop at that point. Like, there's literally nothing going on. And you got to say, like, man, you can't afford at this point in time, like, you are not able to afford a crew of construction people to push this project forward. And in my mind, there's this big financial institution, you know, very, very big, prominent Jamaican financial institution, and they got money problems. I mean, that was my reaction. That's what I told my friend. I was like, this is hard to swallow. Like, this company, they got money problems. They asking you for more money, and you just gave them how many hundreds of thousands of US dollars at that point? My God. My God. Anyway, sorry. Let's keep rolling here. Garth says the land could be better use. Mixed use of a townhome and condo would have been better. First Rock was looking for an easy payday. Perhaps. What is your friend getting back from the receiver? 20 cents on the dollar. So I'm going to put the cart before the horse here, right? So I asked my friend. I'm sure he's watching now, and I asked him. I was like, "What do you want to see? Like, what is your ideal outcome in this?" And as I suspected, is he wants his crib, he wants his home, he wants his house, he wants to be able to move in. Like that's like the main thing. Is like he wants his home, he wants to be able to move into this. He also doesn't want to put any more money into this at this point in time, and he wants to finish it himself. And if it could get to a point where he doesn't have to pay anything and he just finishes it himself and forget everybody else. And this is a nightmare situation. People are extremely frustrated that this thing should have been completed in 2022. We're halfway through 2025 and it's not done, not moved in. And I'm going to get into like more elements of the frustration here that I think is important. And so he wants to move in. He doesn't want to give, like, it's a ridiculous situation, I know, and I wouldn't want to see anybody in a situation like this. And nobody deserves to be in a situation like this. They didn't do anything to put themselves in a situation like this. They trusted an institution. They trusted the leadership in this institution. They did what they said they were going to do. They paid over not only that what they were obligated to pay over in the contract, but they paid more into it so they could see the project completed. And they were given promises that were continuously broken over and over and over again. And that is the facts of the situation. You says prime location, prime potential, prime Ponzi scheme potential, allegedly. Thank you for the allegedly. Don't be surprised to find out that some people go missing, like the funds. Trevor Black says apparently only one unit is owned outright, so the remainder is taking a settlement. I don't know that to be true. I don't know anything that you just said to be true, Trevor. I'm not sure. Christy DS says, do you think the same thing will happen to Pinnacle? Larger property, expensive condos? No, I do. I think that no. I would say you go to the Pinnacle, you drive past the Pinnacle, and you see action. You see action happening, and you got to always ask yourself, and you got to do this. I think the sniff test is important. I think leadership is important, and not just at the helm. Who's the team? Look at the Pinnacle team. I'm not saying like I'm not guaranteeing anything. Nothing is 100% true. I'm sure they would say the same thing. There's a risk in all of this, but like when you assess it, you look at the leaders, top line of the leadership. You look at the team, the operations team. You look at the architecture, the leadership, and then you go there and you do the sniff test. What's happening? Are people doing things? Is there a team there? Is construction happening? Because that's what needs to happen. Is construction taking place when you go there? And I can say construction is taking place. I think they're on the 16th or 17th floor of the first tower. And if I'm not mistaken, they are on schedule. They're actually opening their commercial center at the end of this month, as a matter of fact. Things are happening. Action is taking place. Again, that's one thing. And again, you look at the team. It's there. You look at the operating team. You look at architecture. You look at a top line team. I'm okay. I'm comfortable. Put it that way. I'm comfortable. And you can only get so comfortable with these things, but you can only do so much, right? But it's just making sure this is just my simple advice, is that you go through your own measures and also stick to them, whatever they are, and if your gut is telling you something, act on it, and you have every right to question certain things, especially you put your money down and you on any development anywhere in the world, you have a right to ask questions. And you may or may be lucky enough to live in Jamaica or be visiting here. Is like, hey, let's go take a swing by. Let's go take a swing by of the property and see it. And I know, like, and I'm not saying what I say. I met somebody, I think last month or the month before, and she bought a property based off of literally something I said of a presentation that I made here on my live stream, and didn't see it, didn't just sent the money, bought the property. I'm like, my God. And I was like, don't do that again, because I always tell people in videos I do, like, you got to do your due diligence. Don't listen to any random stranger on the internet, myself included. Yes, use me for your research, use me for you as part of your due diligence process, but it's got to go further than that. You got to answer, you got to get to a point where you're comfortable with making this investment. I think it's very, very important. And lucky for that lady, it worked out, and it's working out for her. But not something that I would encourage you to do, that you see something, you just buy it without looking at it, or getting somebody to look at it for you, so to speak. But that's just a bit of an aside. And to answer your question directly, do I think that will happen with the Pinnacle? No, I really don't. And this is just from my observation and seeing how they're structured and what they're doing. But is anything 100%? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Jamaica says, it seems your observation about First Rock Capital being all over the place and not focusing on their clientele may be related to their business model and recent activities. August says, Jamaica homes are much too expensive in the Dominican Republic, Mexico, Panama, and Costa Rica. Homes are much more beautiful, are selling much cheaper. I'm sure you can say that for many other parts of the world too. But people want to move here. People want to invest here. People want to call Jamaica their home. Hopeland Russell says, will these people get their money back? Like I said, I believe that this will work out some way. I'm not sure. It remains to be seen how. It remains to be seen exactly how. And I just stated before what my friend would like to see happen. Like, what he wants is that he wants his title. He wants possession of the property, splinter title. He wants, doesn't want to pay over any more money to them at all. And he wants to finish himself. Those are three things. He wants his home. He wants his home. Like, and it's been too long. And it's been a very, very, very extremely unfair situation. And we're going to go into the details of the unfairness of it shortly. Jamaica says, I'll leave that comment there. Tionia says, exclusivity that was sold never matched the ethos attitude on side. Seemed like a regular old site, it seems. Lauren says, yes, thank you. Golden Woman says, Throp, I had a career in construction lending. This business is not for the inexperienced. I will take your word for it, I'm sure. Were finishings included in the development? I believe the appliances were included. Yeah, so thank you for that. That's the fourth thing. Your appliance, he paid for the appliances. He needs his appliances. That's a fourth thing, right? So I just want to be clear about that. His appliances. Mystical says, looks like they squandered the money and barely can afford to pay. The employees are the ones left. What a disgrace. It is a disgrace indeed. Marcia White, what's going on? Hi, London in his house. Juova says, what was First Rock's history in building in JA? According to these articles, this was their first. Buffalo Soldier says, I'm just wondering where the workers have been all these years. Not seeing much movement or action is troublesome. So I'm going to explain this, but like, one of the contractors, the construction guys are looking for this guy because he didn't pay his workers. That's also part of the problem. The workers aren't, again, this is a fact. There are many workers that have not been compensated. They have not get paid. Trevor Black says, Pinnacle is moving too fast to fail. Also has Minister of Tourism support. Grain of salt with the Minister of Tourism support. I mean, I know Mr. Bartlett very well, great guy, but like, that means nothing to me. Honestly, it means absolutely nothing to me. It's great to see when the politicians do endorse these projects and these developments, and they are part of the ribbon cutting ceremony, but they have nothing to do with the operation of these. I'm sure they were at the whoever, I can't remember who was in power at the time, which party that is. I'm sure they were at the ribbon cutting ceremony at the Palmyra when that happened, right? And they have nothing to do. It's important, and they should be. These are great things and great projects that are happening to the country, but that project ultimately, as it failed. And again, thanks to Sagicor and their team, they took over and turned it into a success. But yes, Pinnacle, I believe it's moving quite fast, and I'll be going there very shortly, actually. And they got a lot of exciting things happening with that you will know about very, very shortly. I mentioned one of them being the opening of the commercial center, and then I don't want to talk about the other stuff, but very, very exciting stuff that's happening with that property, and I will definitely be bringing it to you all. The foreign speculator says, sympathize with your friend. Thank you. T. O'Neill says, I hope all works out because that's a lot of money. Damn right it is. Does his contract allow him to do those things he wants? I mean, no, because they were supposed to do it. And that's not the agreement. They were supposed to do what he wants to do, but it's just such a frustrating thing. So I don't even know if I could show this. I have a video walkthrough. I don't want to do that. It's my friend's house. I have a video walkthrough of the property when I went there in April. The four walls are up and everything like that, and the property, the what would I say? The community space is just not developed. It's a construction site. It's a construction site at this point in time. And nobody wants to move in a construction site, but he's willing to at this point. He wants to move into his house. I get it. Jay Fitz says renditions always concern me when there are no tangible examples of successfully completed projects. Fair enough. And if that is your red line, as an investor, a potential investor, it's completely understandable. If you're just like, oh, you've never done this before, sorry, I can't get in bed with you. I can't be a part of this. I get it. I mean, there has been many successful stories of first-time developers doing well, and it's not impossible. But maybe for you, as a potential investor, somebody who's buying into a home or a residence, that is your red line, and you can't do it. And I think that's fair enough. Christy Diaz says, "Are collecting money to pay for other projects are loans due?" Possibly. Buffalo Soldier says, have not paid the workers means a big part of the problem. Yep. Rashida says, just joining. Have you heard of the Mobay Racket Club? No. Hey, Gus, what's going on, Ann? Canada John says, wow, the property in Negril is beautifully done. They should have used that contractor. And great info as always. Ronnie says, possible ThropX topic, how to do your research on a developer builder. I think due diligence has been covered from different angles before, but it bears repeating. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's just one of those things, man. You could do everything right. You know what I mean? Like, you could do everything right and you can still get screwed up. And then this is just life in general, right? But yes, there should be certain things that you look for that you don't overlook. And I'm sure, I haven't talked to my friend. Our conversation hasn't gone down this line because we're still in it. I'm sure there are many, many lessons learned here, and things that could have been done differently. And in retrospect, he wish he hadn't done. I'm sure. And this goes for anything that we've been a part of that didn't work out the way that you had expected, that you were promised that it was supposed to work out. And so we always do that, and part of this community, a big part of this community, is to educate you all in this community in ways, hopefully, that a situation like not only like this or anyone that we've discussed that does not happen to you. And we always talk about we're going off a little tangent here, but I think it's important to reiterate. We always talk about the importance of having a real estate lawyer. And a real estate lawyer is not going to help you in this. We're generalizing here. Let's just put Habani aside for one moment here. The importance of having a real estate lawyer, and especially if you do not live here, especially if you're not going to be on the ground seeing the property, you want to have representation, and you want that real estate lawyer to be a good lawyer, because we've also heard many nightmare stories of having poor legal representation in doing deals. And I think having the right person, the right attorney, and right representation is essential. Also, having the right licensed real estate professional is also an important part of this journey, an important part of your team. And you don't want to try to do a lot of this stuff on your own. You want to feel like you have somebody has your back. If you're going to be doing any type of construction, and I would say any medium to large scale construction, you want to have your team of, you want to have an architect, of course. You have to have an architect. That goes without saying. You want to have a good contractor, but what gets overlooked a lot is a quantity surveyor. So important. And these should be separate. These should be, like, you want them to be, not that could there be, great collusion? Yes. But for me, I'd want that to be a separate person, separate entity, and those are the type of people that are going to have your back. Of course, you want to have a good foreman, good contractor, and then you have contractors within contractors. And I know a lot of people aren't doing this themselves, like in terms of like building your dream home. Like, you're more than likely, I hope you don't do this sort of thing, but or maybe you are. I know, actually, because a lot of people actually do. I should scratch that, because a lot of people do ask me, like, hey, do you know a good electrician? Do you know a good carpenter? Do you know a good mason? Yada, yada, yada. And I try to make connections as best I could. But a lot of times people get their cousin or their uncle knows somebody that, like, and it's just like such a really poor way of building your team. And remember, like, this is your dream home. This is something that you want, that you thought of and worked very hard to complete and to do. And so you want to have the right people and the right team behind you in doing so, and not take these sort of shortcuts. So that's just a bit of an aside. When we talk about lessons learned here and fundamentals, and a lot of what I just mentioned, it's not going to really help a Habani situation. But it's kind of, a Habani situation is just like, it's, let's get into some of the nuts and bolts. All right, last comments round, and then we're going to get into a little bit more nuts and bolts. Kev asked, who's the contractor? I'm not sure. Donna Bryce says, my heart goes out to your friend and everyone dealing with this. People's hard-earned money. Shaking my head. Yes, that's exactly what this is. Very sad and unfortunate situation. Canada John says 99% of trust really comes down to the developer, but any issues from day one, you get your lawyer to report these issues to the Jamaican Real Estate Board. I'd also love to hear what the Jamaican Real Estate Board has to say about this, because I know, we saw this article. I forget. I live streamed on it. I can't even remember. I think this was, maybe we're in June. This had to be, was it May? They basically, they were on top of another development because they were misappropriating funds, in the sense of, like, they were allocating funds that weren't supposed to be used for construction, and they were on top of it. So they're on top of certain things, and they understand their role, and they're monitoring these situations. So I would love to hear what they think about this. And because this is not good for Jamaica at all. Nicola says, that is one of the first things that I would be considering. Do you have evidence of completed projects? I would turn my investor's instinct on. Fair enough. Who is the right person these days? Lorene says. In most countries, you only ever put about 5% at risk until completion certificate is produced. Yeah. you know, we're going to get into that, but again, I have to sympathize with the people who are involved in this, the investors, in that you want this thing to get done. And they're making these promises like, hey, and I'm going to get into some of these promises shortly. And they're like, hey, if you send me over X amount, we can be done so much faster. And then you do it and it's just not done. All right. Jewel Vass says, how could a real estate lawyer help when the money runs out with the project unless the contract has a clause to return a portion of the funds if undeliverable? No, I like that's what I prefaced it. Like a real estate lawyer is not going to help you in a situation like this. I'm just saying these are like the fundamental parts of a team that you want. The real estate lawyer is not going to help in a situation like this. But a real estate lawyer is going to help in a situation where somebody is trying to sell you a piece of property that they do not own, or somebody's going to try to sell you a piece of property that has a lien on it. These are the type of situations that a real estate lawyer will help you get past or not get involved at all. And then be like, and then next thing you know, you're involved in something that you put X amount of dollars down, and you're in litigation and going back and forth in court for 10 years. Like, and this happens all the time. Buffalo Soldier says, just seems like an unknown. It's an unknown to really know if anyone specialist is the right one. Fair enough. Just have to pray you get the right one, right lawyer, right realtor. I think recommendations go a long way. And not to toot my own horn, like ThropX, everybody, every presenter, every realtor, real estate lawyer, contractor, QS, everybody is handpicked. Everybody's, are they perfect? No, but I will say there's a certain level of trust that I extend to them. That I say, hey, I've worked with these folks, and they're good, they're trustworthy, and they're good people, and you don't want crooks. You don't want scammers. You don't want people who are waking up every morning who are just like, how can I take money from my client? How can I get more than what is owed to me? How can I screw them out of what's in their bank account, right? And you want people, and you want to work with people that have just strong ethics and strong morals. And I have worked with those people, and I do my best to as much as they want to participate, but I do my best to pass those folks on to you, especially at ThropX, so you don't have to go through the sifting process that I've gone through of trying to find a carpenter, an electrician, and I've been screwed over so many times, especially like on projects that I've done here, of just things just not getting done, and you paying over money, whether it's 50%. And I've learned my lesson. Somebody had said earlier, Trevor, about only putting down 5%, where I've paid the whole thing over and I don't get anything. That's happened to me. But again, because I've been there in the mindset, like, I just want to get this thing done. I want to get this project done. This room needs to be complete. Here, take the money, just get it done. It doesn't get done. So I understand that position. All right. Okay. Let's get into, I think I gotta take a quick break. So we're gonna take a quick break here. And so what I'm gonna be going through is, basically, we're going to go through a short time, and then this is to emphasize the point of how screwed over my friend got from a financial perspective. And so you'll know and see the dollar. Unfortunately, you'll see certain dollar amounts we're going to talk about today. So we're going to take a quick 5-minute break, show you guys the standard rooms here, and then we'll come back and we'll go through it. So just to create quick context here, my friend, he bought the 4-bedroom, so that's $1.8 million. That's what he was buying into. And so far, most of the people who are buying into this are getting a mortgage. He's doing it cash. And just so you know, just to build context for when we come back, he's paid in $1.5 million US in cash so far for this home that he is not living in. $1.5 million US in cash, no bank loan, no nothing. So we're going to talk about all that when we come back.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining the tour today, and we're going to be taking a look at the newly renovated bungalows, or otherwise now known as the cottages, which we've gone through about half of them so far, and we're looking at cottages number 4 and 8 at this time. And this is just a view of the balcony. We changed the entrance from being in the middle, and so if you are familiar with the property, there used to be an entrance for 2 rooms in one of these bungalow housing structures, and now each bungalow, each room has their own entrance to the side and a little bit more privacy as well, because we split the balcony. So you don't necessarily have to talk to the neighbor if you don't want to, but you can of course go around if you would like. And moving into the room itself, these are brand new beds and frames and new design with the throw pillows and the standard pillows in the back there. And then you can also see the kitchenette unit that we renovated, and we'll get to in a second. Also, we added a working desk with a charging station, so you have USB and also Type-C there as well, right below the television. And that's for anybody who wants to get some work done, especially those work from home people. And this is a wider view of the room, and I just want to make note of the AC, because these used to be fan cooled rooms, and now we got rid of the louver windows, and so now it's completely sealed up, if you will, with, as far as the windows go, brand new windows. And also want to bring attention to the ceilings. So the ceilings used to be flat, and now we brought them up to an apex to give a little bit more room and make it feel a little bit more spacious, but still maintain the coziness. And also bringing some more attention to the far right corner of the kitchenette that we have, and we'll get to that in a second, and also the newly renovated bathroom. So we basically gutted this entire place. Even the floor tiles are brand new as well. And this is another angle of the bed, and just want to bring some attention to the LED bed frame, as well as the embedded nightstands and lamps, and another view of the kitchenette, I should say. And as you can see, it has basically all the utensils and tools that you might need to cook a meal. Included is a mini fridge there down on the left, and a hot plate, coffee maker, ice bucket, all the knives and utensils that you may need to feed a small family. Not necessarily Thanksgiving dinner, but you can definitely chef it up in there, especially if you're staying for an extended period of time. This might be a perfect type of accommodation for you. And that essentially is the kitchen. And now moving on to the bathroom. And as I mentioned before, like floor to ceiling, new floor tiles, new ceiling tiles. We got the LED frame around the mirror just to give a little bit more lights. We changed out the square louver windows for the ship window, I guess you can call it. And we got the rainfall shower head and the glass frame shower door. Even the towel holders, those are all new. And again, trying to bring together everything in the room, the kitchenette, and to complete the cottage experience, if you will. So very happy and proud of how this was done, and really wanted to give a modern look and feel to this new room category, the cottage. And so also with this wide angle, want to bring attention to the closet. So you got some drawer space there, and you got some hanging space as well, and your safe, of course, and the ironing board is on the other side in between the closet and the window there. And yeah, another angle of the room, and also want to bring attention to that long standing mirror there, so full frame mirror. And that essentially is the bungalow, and this is kind of our way of paying homage to my dad and where he started from with this hotel. Hello and welcome. If this is your first time visiting, a special welcome to you. We got a special feature today. We are doing a driving tour of Negril, Jamaica, particularly focusing on the West End. And this is a bit of a long video. It's about 40 minutes. And depending on where you're watching it, this will be in different parts or one long video. My name is Winthrop Wellington, by the way, and here on my channel, we really discuss all things Jamaica. But today, as I mentioned, we're going to be doing a bit of tour of Negril, and we're just going to flow with it. We're just going to flow with it and see where this takes us. So we are starting this tour off on Norman Manley Boulevard, otherwise known as the Beach Road at Travelers Beach Resort, which is my family's hotel. And of course, we gotta wait for the traffic. But across there on the left side of your screen, that is our NEAT Resource Center, or the Negril Education Environment Trust Resource Center. NEAT is my family's nonprofit organization, which focuses on education for young people. So right now we're heading south on Norman Manley Boulevard. Pretty beautiful day, as you can see. I don't know what the temperature was when we filmed this, but it was nice. It was a nice day. And so we're heading towards downtown Negril, and on your left is the shared user path. So that's running, walking, biking, and that goes for a little bit over 2 miles. To your right is the Negril Beach Park. It has a basketball court and the beach, of course, and just really open space. Unfortunately, it's closed right now. They have plans to do some refurbishing. And then we just passed the Negril Community Center. And then we're also passing the craft market on your right side. And this is the South Negril River and Bridge. And we're heading to the Negril roundabout. Of course, going into the roundabout, you have to give way, and if you're in the roundabout, you have the right of way. And we are going west end, so we're going to be taking a right here at the roundabout and veering left. And so here downtown, this is a few shopping centers, if you will. There's Little Caesars Pizza on the right, Popeyes, Burger King. There's a Digicel store down here as well. And on the left coming up is Scotiabank, which some people might be familiar with depending on where you are from, but it's a Canadian bank. And I guess officially this is where the west end of Negril starts. And on your left here is Corner Bar, which is a pretty popular restaurant. Great local food. Haven't had it in a while, but the reviews continue to be very good. And on the left, that's Vendors Plaza. That's the Negril Chamber of Commerce owned plaza. And on the right, obviously, we have the sea. Unfortunately, I don't think we panned right, but you basically can see the entirety of Negril on the right-hand side if you were to look right. You need to get a 360 camera next time, right? Anyway, on the left is the Negril Post Office, not in the greatest of shapes, but that is our post office. And then right after that is Samuel's Hardware on the left. And that's, I would say, probably the most popular hardware store in Negril. Mostly every business uses them. And then on the left, the green building, that's Quality Traders. That's where I do my grocery shopping. Been going there for years. And then we're coming up on the, I guess what used to be the High-Low Value Master NCB Plaza, but NCB and High-Low moved. So that's no longer there, and that place is being refurbished. And this is called Church Corner. As we move through the West End. Just cruising. And this is the Negril Library on the left, and then followed by Negril All Age School. And then this is another hardware store on the left. Hope you guys are enjoying this so far. I'm just flowing with it, and as I see things, I want to point them out to you. On the right is the Negril Yacht Club, which is for sale. Hopefully, should be doing a video on that hopefully sometime soon. Canoe Bars on the right. It's pretty much the only property on the West End that has a beach. Good food there. Haven't been there in a while either, but their food is pretty good. That used to be German bar, but I don't know what it is now. But boats used to pull up there. They used to have really good pizza. This used to be Boat Bar on the right, but it changed into something else. I'm not sure what it is now. And then Millard is on the left. And if you know Millard, that's 24 Hours Place. Good food as well. And then Patsy's is on the right. So they do, I think it's basically the only standalone coffee shop in Negril. And they do good pastries, good lunch. I did a live stream from there and also did a video with them as well for the channel, which was cool. This is Ocean Cliff on the right we just passed. I did the farewell dinner there for ThropX 2022. Beautiful property, formerly known as the Spa Retreat. But beautiful property, great food that we had there for the farewell dinner retreat. And here on the West End, like, it's a very different experience than the beach. As you can see, like, it's very, it's I wouldn't say secluded, maybe too strong of a word, but definitely when you're on the properties, it's a little bit more secluded and separated, as compared to the beach, where there's just more traffic and no real, I guess, super separation between the properties. And really talking in terms of traversing. So to go from property to property here, you actually have to come out the property and walk along the roads here, whereas like the properties on the beach, you can either walk on the beach and go from property to property, or the road, if you will. And if you're across the street from the beach, then we have the shared user path, depending on where the property is. Now we are passing Samsara, which is friends of the family, another good small hotel in Negril. Sorry about that wind sound. I didn't anticipate that, but that just makes sense, just coming from the camera. This is Kaiser's. This was used to be a very famous place for shows back in the day, before my time. Coming up on the left and the right here is Ekstabi, great seafood place. Haven't been there in a while, but do enjoy their food. Great lobster during a lobster season. Three Dives coming up on the right here. Very, very popular restaurant, local restaurant. Great jerk chicken, jerk food in general. They were actually on the Amazing Race, if I'm not mistaken. Almost certain of that. Nice view here of the sea. We're passing Pushcart on the right, which borders its sister property, Rock House, one of my favorite restaurants in Negril. They also have an award-winning spa, one of my favorite spas in Negril, as a matter of fact. And haven't been there in a while. When I say a while, like a few months, but I'm a regular customer there for sure. They do excellent job. Very technical, and I guess you can call me bougie when it comes to massages, but I know what I like and I know what I want, and they do a fantastic job there. That's Corosi's Cliff we just looked at. And as you can see, we're literally just riding the coast here. The only thing separating us from the coast is the property. So this is as close as we can get in a vehicle moving through the West End. All right, we are back. Hope you liked that drive-through and tour of the cottages. All right, so the next aspect of this case, if you want to call it a case, the situation that I want to get into is very specified to my friend's situation. And before the break, I told you he's put in over $1.5 million into this. And most of the other people buying into this, they're going through a
excuse me, going through a mortgage. He's doing cash. And let's see if it's, I think I got most of this stuff on my phone. And and so got to understand that there is money that has been paid over directly to the Habani, to the developer, to project man, whatever you want to call it, the leadership of the situation. And then there was also money invested in, like, even I mean, I guess this is also part of it, but like getting like security cameras, the design of the place, getting a designer, and you do this and you make these moves again in anticipation for X date, X completion date, right? And then you continue to be told this. So you start to gather your ducks and you start to align them and you start making down payments, you start signing contracts. And now when the project completion continues to be kicked down the road, you yourself, you're a person that is a person of your word. You signed a contract with a designer and having X amount of, I don't know if I'm allowed to release this information, X amount of dollars per month that you're paying over as a retainer to design the inside of your home in anticipation that the project will be complete and they are able to continue to do their job. What is doing their job? Is coming up with the design, sourcing the furniture, sourcing the light fixtures, all of the things that you could think of in a home. Because no disrespect, but you're not going to go down to your local, I mean, not name this, but your local furniture store and start buying stuff for a home of this nature. Like, it all has to be cohesive. I mean, like, and it's like almost like a hotel. Like, you're not going down, for the most part, you're not going down the road and going to Bosco, for instance, and putting that into a hotel room like that one. That's like, it's probably not commercial grade because that's not their clientele. They're going more for a residential clientele, that sort of thing. And so the design of the place is, you want to go with a professional. So you start signing these contracts and you gave your word to this person, you signed the contract, and now you're obliged to pay these individuals X amount of dollars per month because you said you would, and you're not getting that reciprocated on the other end of the delivery. Oh, man, I don't even, like, I'm looking at these numbers and I'm just like, man, am I saying these numbers? Should I say these numbers? Yes, I'm going to say these numbers because it's just, I mean, it's just heartbreaking. So more than 3/4 of the money has been paid over at this point in time. As you can see, as I said, over 1.5 million has gone into this project, and it was supposed to be finished a long time ago. The initial down payment was put down of 155,000 US in late 2020, early 2021, let's say, not sure the exact date. And it was supposed to be completed in 2022. And even up until, like, the promise that was made that this was in 2024. And I'm looking directly at all these receipts that, hey, if you paid over $750,000 US dollars, right? And again, let's remember the context here. This is a big financial institution, premier Jamaica financial institution. And these guys are making these promises saying, hey, if you give me 700, this is in September 2024. If you give me 750,000 US dollars, we'll be able to it'll be done by December 2024. And money and money was paid over. They didn't finish by December 2024, obviously. And they got the last of the $375,000 in January of 2025, and still nothing was done. There was also $100,000. These are all U.S. dollars. I'm talking about right now. All U.S. dollars. $100,000 that was given to the contractor that was supposed to do the camera system. Where that guy is, I don't know. So I'm just making sure I don't want to say anything that is incorrect or not accurate. There's even request please for the first payment of $375,000. Like all of this is all of this is there. There was a payment on January 22nd, 2025 of 70,000 US dollars for the smart home, and another $7,500, $7,500 to the designer, and tons of money put over to these people, a designer side, I'm sorry, but to these contractors, and not complete. So I'm even just looking at the smart home system that was supposed to be implemented, and can't find this guy. Can't find this guy. I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to name names here. That's not what I'm about. But I'm telling you that this is all factual and that this is all real. This all has happened. Looking at the invoices to different contractors, and I had mentioned before that I don't know if it's a lot of contractors, but one of the contractors, construction contractors, that is, the guys are still looking for them because they haven't been paid. And there were some. Let me make sure I'm reading this right. There was supposed to be this infusion of activity and energy put back into this based on the money that was given over. And you just got to think, like, what did you do with $750,000 at that time? What did you do with that? And like, why aren't things done? Is there anybody else giving you all money? Like, what are you doing with the money that was given to you and loaned out by Sagicor? What is happening? Like, what can we see that? Can we get an understanding of how this money was spread out, what it was put towards? Can we get an idea of what happened with that? And these are some of the things, like, and I hate to sound like I'm being cynical, but it's just like, these are the fearful stories that people worry about when they would say, and it's hard for me to defend, right? When people say, I would never invest in Jamaica, I would never do this, is because of stories like this, because of situations like this. And I hope that there is a situation or a time where the carpet is lifted up and that we do have a much better understanding of what happened, what went wrong. Also, who's held accountable to this? Like, and I told my friend this, like, and the sad thing is, it's like, and I think he's also come to this conclusion, is like, nobody's going to get in trouble for this. I mean, honestly, nobody's going to I don't expect there to be anybody get in trouble for this at all. And it's not just Jamaica that this happens, and it's all over the world. Like, even going back to the financial crisis of 2008, nobody went to jail for that. Nobody. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was held accountable for that. All of that was swept under the carpet. And even in this situation, I'm not saying anybody should go to jail. I don't know what happened. You know, like, nobody knows what happened at this point. I have not a clue. And I'm not saying anybody should go to jail for this, but like, somebody should be explaining, like, yo, what exactly happened here? And how is this not going to happen again in the future with other developments? And I don't know if this group is going to be doing more real estate developments in the future, but what precautions and what guardrails are going to be put in place to ensure that the public doesn't face these consequences again, and that the consumer is not put in a position like this. And I don't care if you're buying $1 million, $2 million home, or you're buying $100,000 home. Like, nobody deserves to be going through a situation like this. And there should be precautions put in place to ensure that nothing of this nature takes place again. And this is just, again, it's just such a huge mess. Such a huge mess. Joel Vass should be said that's why names should be called, so that repeat offenders. You know, I'm not going to call any names. I was told the names of all of these people. You know, all these people, and I said I'm not going to do it. You know, and I don't think that's my job at this point. I don't think that's my job at this point. There are regulatory bodies in place to deal with this, so to speak, and to ensure that things of this nature doesn't happen, or at least mitigate the chances of this happening. And they're the ones that should be bringing and shedding light on this. And kudos to the journalists and the publications that are taking this on and shedding more light. And who knows, maybe more stuff is going to come out. But answers, we want answers, especially somebody like myself who wants Jamaica to do well and wants more Jamaicans, especially in the diaspora, to invest in Jamaica and be a part of all of these great things happening in Jamaica. It's just like, this is unacceptable. This really, really, really is unacceptable. And we know things happen. We know things happen. We just want to know what those things are. How did this happen? How did we end up here? And why is my friend and others who have bought their homes, why aren't they in their house? And when can we expect them to move into their homes? And when can we expect the titles to be turned over? I mean, these are fair questions. These are very, very fair questions. And I don't think that there's anything that I said on this live stream today that is unreasonable. And I think anybody out there who has invested in development, looking to invest in a development, buy a home, whatever have you, they would expect to be treated with fairness and dignity and a certain level of just basic transparency. And that's not the situation right now. And it continues not to be the situation. And this is just a real mess and a real sad situation that I do hope will be resolved in a short period of time, and people can get their titles, people can move into their homes. If there's an opportunity to hold people accountable, especially these contractors who just Houdini'd out of here, I think, yes, let's do that. Let's pursue that. Because they shouldn't have the opportunity to do this to people again in the future. Honestly. And again, I wanted to bring this up, 2 years ago, when I saw this, I was just like, let's get some questions answered. Let's get some fundamentals in here of understanding. But it wasn't my place then. It wasn't my place then to bring up. And I wish I could have, and I wish I could have brought this to the light. Just like we've talked about other developments, and I don't mean to conflate things here, but like we've talked about other developments before in the past where I knew certain things were happening, but like I can't bring up, what would I say? I can't bring up certain things without permission, and I do this for my own protection. I do this for the protection of the integrity of this community, of this channel. And I try to do my best to steer you folks, to steer this community in the best direction possible, in the best direction that I know. And sometimes, like, if you don't hear me talk about a certain development, there might be a reason behind that. If you don't hear me talk about a certain project that's going on, there might be something behind that, and if we're having an off-camera conversation, and I do this all the time. We're having an off-camera conversation about, hey, what do you think about this? And I get phone calls all the time. Like, there's certain developments, there are certain projects going on that people like, hey, what do you think about this? Do you think I should go into that? I'm like, listen, no. And there's a reason why I'm telling you no. And I might say, hey, I just don't have confidence in what's happening over there. I just don't have confidence in the leadership over there. But I can't come on camera and say, I heard or I think. Now, we got to get to the point where I say, I know, and I bring that I know to you. And I think it can be dangerous to do otherwise. It can be dangerous to do otherwise. Hence why I haven't done certain things. So again, just leave it at that. Again, if I don't bring up certain developments, certain things, like maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's a reason. Let's get into some comments, and we'll start closing out this portion. I definitely want to close out with some good news more than anything else. What's going on, Simone? Good to see you. Sunday to you as well. Jay Fitz, you don't have to call names, but you can email the names to members of this community. Just thought I would ask. I mean, I think you have my number, Jay Fitz. I think you got my number. You could text me. You could call me. Have a conversation, and I'll tell you what I know, and I go into, and that's the thing too, just like being on the ground and being a part of this industry, this ecosystem, whatever you want to call it. Like you just get so much. I get so much information. Sometimes you got to make sense out of the nonsense. But when I start getting just good, solid inside information, and you're putting pieces together, and just like I just know, like, hey, if I was that person, I wouldn't do that. And this is like, especially with stuff happening in my own backyard here. And again, if people reach out to me and they say what I think about this, what I think about that, I'm going to tell you my true opinion. And if you decide to do otherwise, like, sure, go ahead, and it may work out, and I may be wrong, and on a lot of these things, I do hope I'm wrong, I do hope I'm wrong, but I'll leave it at that. Throp, definitely get the tone of your voice, tone of your disappointment, and suspect you care for your friend, but I concur the regulatory bodies are better equipped to handle legalities. No defaming here. Exactly. And I'm not here to do that, and I'm not here to, even put down anybody, so to speak. That's not my prerogative. But at the end of the day, it's just like an injustice is occurring and continuing to occur, and it's not fair. And this one I'm personally involved in, and I don't take any joy in making content like this and doing this. But like like light has to be shed on this darkness. It really does. And I think we need to move past and we are. I was going to say move past a country that things like this happen. And it's getting better and better and better. And like we've known, and we hear about how very much these crazy horror stories, but we want to do our best, especially as a community, to avoid them collectively, avoid them individually as we go along our own investment path, our own Jamaica journey. We want to avoid these situations as much as humanly possible. And it's just a real shame that this happened. And again, like my point isn't to put anybody down or anything like that. I just think we should get my friend into his home as quickly as possible. I would love there to be some sort of recourse, especially with the contractor, and in particular with the camera situation. He's paid $100,000 for a camera system, and he cannot get in contact with the guy. Cannot get in contact with that. Hey, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I get the green light of like, yo, let's call this dude out, and like, yo, and if he's still doing business in Jamaica, oh, I'm gonna let y'all know. I will definitely let y'all know. But I always I want to give if I ever do that, I have to give them an opportunity to come on here and say, hey, what happened? Like, I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna try to contact them myself. Like, hey, Mr. Camera Contractor, what's going on? What's up? Are the cameras gonna be installed? What'd you do with the $100,000? Where's it at? And if I can't get in contact with him, and like when I said that, I'm not going to do that on the phone. Like, I want him to come on this program and we have a conversation. And that's the least I can do. That's the least I can do. And I would invite them. I would love to talk to them about what's happening, what's going on, and some sort of accountability. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what this guy is doing, but it seemed like he's gone. Honestly. And I mean, and he's part of this project. He's part of this project. And it's just like, is there going to be some sort of recourse for that $100,000 that was paid over to this guy who's part of this project? I think it's fair. I think it's fair to ask these questions. I think it's fair to shed light on this. Trevor Black says, your friend has paid a sum beyond the build cost. Yeah. It does not cost $1.5 million to put up the fort. Like, no, you're absolutely right. It doesn't. But that's not for me to say. Obviously, when you buy into these things, that's not what you're paying. You're not paying the cost of what it costs to build. Like, they have to make a profit. We all know that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way the world works. And they should make a profit. Ideally, if they're doing their job and they're doing the construction on time and on budget, right? But we'll see if there's any recourse with any of these. Joe Vass says, regulatory bodies are compromised many times. Friends, family, sweethearts, they all know each other. Perhaps, nonetheless, it's just like accountability needs to be had, and I'd be interested to know what they think about it, like all the regulatory bodies up and down. Jill says, "Drop, you have a great heart. Cover him, Lord." Thank you, appreciate that. Encourage says, "I can only speak about Jamaica. Many developers here, especially new ones, only think about now. Get this money now and go live a big happy life. Forget everyone else." I mean, and that's sad. You know, that's sad if that is the reality. That's really really sad. And because like Jamaica is under construction right now, and we are in a building phase, like very much so. Like figuratively and physically in the physical real world space, and there's just like so many things happening and changing legislatively, investment wise, infrastructure wise. I'd love to see a little bit more change in the education situation, but things are changing and things are happening, and for messy situations like this to occur, it's just unfortunate, especially at this point in the journey that Jamaica finds itself on. T. O'Neill says, poor project management is a common occurrence in the built environment. However, so are successful projects. I encourage people to not let fear rule. Great practitioners are out there. Absolutely, 100% well said. And this is not to instill fear in anybody. And this is just, hey, let's make sure we do our homework. You know, let's do the fundamentals at the end of the day. And I'm not saying that this is a situation, but like there are people out there to get you along the journey in every way. You know, this contractor, that lawyer, that developer, the guy selling you something on the beach. You know what I'm saying? Is trying to overcharge you. Like, but they're all like, there's always these types of people who do not live and move in a way of high value and high integrity, and then maybe also there's just a level of incompetence, you know, of just like they just didn't have they just didn't like we stated before in the article, like this is the first time that they're doing this, and maybe they just didn't know what they were doing and messed it all up. Who knows? I don't know, but I would love, like I keep saying, I would love to get some of the leadership part of this project to come on and hear what they have to say. I would love to, and I think it's more than fair. I think it's more than fair to kind of get both sides of this, even though like you know they screwed the pooch on this. There's no question about that, and just we'd like to know what's up, and how is this thing going to be rectified. The soldier says that burden and pressure shouldn't be put on Uthrop. The regulatory entity should ensure that these situations should be dealt with. Absolutely, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, what am I going to do? You know, like this is like I have no power. You know, I have no like I don't have like say you got to give the money back or whatever have you. Get this thing done. Like no, that's not my role. Junior Shar says they cursed the Chinese, but the Chinese would have complete Ambani long time. The deanery in Kings and Vineyard Town. Is it the deanery? I keep mixing them up. The Vineyard Town project. That was a Chinese construction company, and there was 90% Chinese workers on that site. That joint was buzzing. If you look at, I'll throw up the video here, and you can see these guys were not playing at all. And they were, and so Noel was the one who gave me the site visit. Noel Phillips, big real estate realtor in Kingston. Now he has his own brokerage as well, moving on up in this world. When he took me on the site, hold on, is this it? He was just telling me, hold on, I might be mixing this up. No, this is the right one. He was telling me, you guys could take a look at that video. He was telling me just how efficient the Chinese are. And they slept on property, and they woke up they had their own dorms that were built on property. They get up, they work, and then they're quiet. I also heard this from when they were building Azul. I was very good friends with the GM that used to be there, and he was just telling me this like these guys work like no one else. They're quiet. They're so quiet, and they are just not about like banter and what happened and the sus and what happened last night in this. Like, no, they're about their work and they get it done. I heard the same thing at the multiple people told me about the Pinnacle as well. And this is why I said somebody asked me, do I think something like what happened in Habani could happen at the Pinnacle? And this is another reason why I say no. It's like multiple people told me they're just so impressed with how the Chinese work and they're there to work. They don't mess around. They go, they work for however many hours in the morning. They eat lunch, take a siesta, half-hour sleep, and they're back up, re-energized, and back on the job. And they're just about their work. And so I agree with you. It's a different level, and I've seen it with my own eyes, you know, and then like you hear people talk about it, and it's a different level of work, of work ethic and how you approach a job. And it's hard to argue with, it's hard to compete with. And think about it. Put yourself in a situation where you're trying to build your home or you're doing a construction project, whatever you want to call whatever situation that you have. And you have a group of people, you have group A and group B. Group A, they're just gonna work their butt off and they're gonna come on time and under budget. You got group B, maybe, maybe not. You got attitude. Like, we don't even got to get into it. It's just night and day. It's just night and day. And I've heard this from contractors. I've heard this more from contractors who are more fearful of it and saying it's not fair. But then when you come to the consumer, it's just like, why would you not want to go with that? And I've said this before, but I hope more than anything else, like this is like, yo, we got to be better. And then when I say we, Jamaica, like we got to be better. We got to step our game up and we got to be able to compete, because I agree with you, Junior Char. If this was a group of the Chinese taking it, like, oh, done long time, like from what I've seen and from what other people have told me in working with them. What's going on, Bubbles? Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Vinci for Life says, these loans usually paid in chunks. Once inspectors okay each side, the bank releases the next bit. Buyer deposits, but keep work moving between payouts, and a small holdback stays until it's 100% complete. Yeah, I talked about this earlier, and this is where the regulatory bodies come in, because, like I said earlier, I was talking with an architect who's working on a project, and they're saying the same thing, that because we were talking about this Habani situation, they were like, how is this even possible? Because they have to show like they're giving out a certain allocation of money. Say it's $1,000 that you're taking out for a loan. You'll only get $10, and then you'll get $10 to start. You'll get the next $10 when you're at a 10% completion. If you don't reach that 10% completion, you're not getting that next allocation. You're not getting that next round of funding. And so I don't know how that happened in this situation where all this money was given out, but there was nobody to come in to say, hey, you didn't meet the qualifications necessary to get your next round of funding. I'm sorry, we can't approve this. I don't know. Maybe somehow this wasn't the situation. I have yet to be confirmed or denied in any single way. So you're right on that. That's how it's usually done, as far as I know. Jan says, info indicates First Rock's real estate arm has been bleeding badly since late 2023, probably spread themselves too thinly between their holdings and investments in the Caribbean and Central America. What would you call that? Poor management, bad management. That's what it comes down to. Mismanagement, however you want to frame it. James, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Theo Neal says, I concur and respect the expression of disapproval for the professional practice while still maintaining your integrity, EQ, and character. Great example of strong disapproval, but with respect, a ting to note. Thank you. Jewel Fast, do you want me to pull up? No. It's okay. Okay. No smoke. No smoke. We don't want any smoke. We don't want to give any smoke, right? James Apple says, you think education is archaic in 2025? I wouldn't say archaic. No, because it just needs to be, just talking about Jamaica education system, it needs to be reformed to be able to compete in this globalized system that we're in right now, especially with AI. Like, we just need to move faster with curriculum change. This is on a public school level. I know a lot of private schools, they move a lot quicker than public schools, and I understand that. They can do that because they're privately funded, and if they want to change the math curriculum for September, they can do it with a stroke of a pen, and they don't got to go through all this bureaucracy. Junior Charles says, my close friend did a major development apartment building in New Kingston. Local contractors mess him for about 3 years. I told him strongly to sign a deal with the Chinese. He eventually did. Hey, can't blame him. Can't blame him. Don't blame your friend at all. Got to do what he got to do. And it's just like, yo, why would you, if to your friend's point, to point you're making, Junior, is why would you want to continue to get screwed? Again, as a developer, as somebody who's a home builder, I don't blame you for going with the Chinese at all, because it's like you're tired of the foolishness. You're tired of getting your shirt taken off your back. And I'm not saying don't work with local contractors. I'm not saying we at Cheer Tribe, like, all we do is work with local contractors, but it's come over time. Like, we've built a great local contracting team and network that we can trust, and that we know that they're going to do it on time. But it's rare, and it's taken years to find these guys. But if you are coming in here brand new, yo, good luck. Good luck with that. It's not an easy road. Not an easy road. Jay Fitz, I pray that your friend gets a satisfactory resolution to this situation quickly. It's very unfortunate. Yep. It is. I know the Dean area very well. The same Chinese contractors finished my close friend's apartment in New Kingston. Throp. There you go. See, I'm not talking nonsense here. Thank you for backing me up on that. James Apple says the pinnacle is all Chinese construction workers, and get down to business. Yeah, it's a mix. It's mostly Chinese for sure. But even I can't wait to show you like the video that I have with them. Like, even how they're doing the construction, it's just not traditional Jamaican construction. Even the thickness of the steel, it's crazy. And we have a video coming out in a few weeks on it, and you're going to see exactly what I mean. It's very interesting, very new age. It's just a different kind of construction. And again, I can't emphasize on how efficient they are as a construction team over there. T. O'Neill, the only thing you hear on the Chinese sites are the sounds of the tools. It's a thing to admire. They are disciplined and orderly. It's a fact. It's a fact. Nicole, Natalie, there are also Black planning and development professionals from the diaspora on the island that are advancing progressive projects with solid consultants and a high standard of regulatory compliance. Awesome. Good to know. Good afternoon, Tisha. What's going on? I haven't seen you in a minute. Good afternoon, Throppers. I finally catched a live Throp. I finally got to visit Travelers. We'll definitely be back. How did I miss you? When were you here? That's crazy. Sorry I missed you, but glad you were able to visit. Nicola says, Throp would typically get like an update on the progress of a project when you invest in the early stages. Yeah. They got, my friend, he got the updates. He went there and physically saw it himself, but it was just so slow moving. It was just incredibly slow moving, and continues to be. Joan Richardson says, hey, Throp, I really fear those contractors are more than the gunmen, a rotten bunch they are. God is watching. James Apple says, Habani ain't the pinnacle, Chief. T. O'Neill, increasingly the general observation, I believe, is the site ethics as it relates to productivity, order, and discipline that discipline the vastly and ghastly different. That's right. Junior Char says, just look at the Pinnacle Chinese again going up fast, very much so. Nicole says, sorry for the plug drop, but had to add some encouragement and hope. No, absolutely. I'm with that. James says, wasn't there a real estate property during the 2008 MOB in receivership? It was supposed to be the Pinnacle before the Pinnacle. That said, property is Jewel Grand now. Yes, I spoke about that earlier. That was the how did we just spoke about this? Palmyra. It was the Palmyra. That's what it was called. Lisa Maria, what's going on? Good evening, everyone. Chiming in from Connecticut. Junior, there are local worker recording everything on this TikTok that's working with the Chinese on the Pinnacle, and it's amazing on the 16th floor. That's right. That's right. Mara H. Hello, Throp, tuning in from Montgomery, Alabama. Good to see you. Good to have you on here. Yep, they're doing well. They're doing very, very, very well. They're doing very well. And so nearly kicked over the mic. And so, I'm glad I was able to shed some light on this. And I also want to reiterate, like I said, I asked my friend, hey, what do you at this point, what do you hope to happen? What do you hope to happen? It's the sale price of what he was listed sale price of what he is paying for and getting for the 4-bedroom is $1.8 million US. And so far he has put in over $1.5 million US and is still unable to move into his home, essentially 3 years late, still not completed, still not finished. And he is obviously paid over and invested more than the cost of construction. And he has been put in a very unfair position. And not just him, there's other folks there who have bought into it and who have mortgages. And it's a very ridiculous situation. And not getting the answers that he wants to hear, not seeming to have any sort of immediate recourse. I even asked him, like, where are things now? He's like, it's at a complete standstill. There's nothing happening on the site. And he was contacted by a representative at Sagicor and wasn't really told anything. He doesn't know what's going to happen at this point in time. And so I asked him, what would you like to see? What would be the best case scenario for you right now as things stands? And what he would like to see happen is that, one, he pays no more money into this thing, not anything else. He gets his title, his splinter title for his home that's turned over. All the appliances that he was promised and that he had already paid for, it gets installed and he gets them, and that he gets to finish his house with his own money. And I think that's more than fair. I would be asking for a lot more than this. I think he deserves to be given some sort of refund, some sort of compensation for this, because this is a ridiculous situation. But those are the 4 things that he is asking for right now, and that he would just make him happy. I couldn't even say happy, but he'd be satisfied, and that he could take possession of his home, finish it up. And like I said, he has a contract with a designer that he's paying a monthly retainer, because it takes a lot of time. Like, you got to understand, like, if you hire somebody to do this, it's ongoing work. It's back and forth. This color curtain, this rug, this couch, and it takes time. And I know this because we're working with a designer here at the hotel, and it's not something that's one time. And if you've been here and you've seen the redesign and you've seen the refurbishments that we've done here at Travelers, like literally, we started this thing 2 years ago, and we have more to come. We're doing a slow rollout and that sort of thing, but it's like you're continuously working with this person and with this professional, and it's like it's a relationship. I don't know how to explain. It's not like a one and done. It's a relationship that's ongoing. And like I said before, and as we all know, time is money, and there's a lot of time being put into this thing and a lot of money being wasted. And this thing should be done. This thing should be done long time, literally years ago, and it's still not being done, and it's now being thrown into even more uncertainty, and it's a very frustrating a very, very frustrating situation for all those folks that are involved. And this is a really huge disappointment for, I think, for everybody involved, but I also think for Jamaica, this is just not a good look at all. And I'm sorry that it's happened. I'm sorry that it's happened to my friend. And I do hope that there will be recourse with this. And I do hope that this will, like, if Sagicor is taking over, but then you also heard that First Rock wants to take it back. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. This is just it's just a mess at the end of the day. That's what I would call this. I don't think you can argue it any other way. This is a complete mess, and it's a sad situation. And I do hope that it can be resolved quickly. I do believe it is going to be resolved quickly. I'm not quickly, but I do believe eventually it will be resolved. I hope it happens sooner rather than later, and that everybody can move on. And maybe this will turn into a Jewel Grand situation, and can't say that we'll look back and laugh because there has been so many inconveniences that have been levied over these years. And imagine you think you're moving into a home in 2022 and you move into a temporary home because, oh yeah, next year I'm going to move into where I'm really going to move into. It just doesn't happen next year. It doesn't happen the year after. It doesn't happen the year after that. And then you're in the year after that and you don't know when it's gonna happen. And the person who told you 3 months, 3 years ago is telling you another 3 months it'll be done. What do you think? What do you think? I mean, what level of frustration would you be at that point? And to me, it doesn't matter if you're paying $2 million, $100,000, $50,000 for something of this nature. This is a crazy situation that nobody deserves to be in. And there should be a certain level of transparency and answers should be given. And I think that's the least that we can expect of a situation like this. And I hope something like this doesn't happen again. Even though, even though like there are situations like this happening right now that I know of in other parts of the country. But that's not what we're here to talk about. But I do hope this thing starts to move. All right, let's finish up with some comments here. Any questions, comments, last minute questions or comments that you want to bring in? Oh, we're gonna finish with some good news. I promise that we do that. T. O'Neill says it's true. Been in situations where a design decision requires several approval or signatures. Not to mention if what is approved is not available. There you go. There you go. And somebody said before, prices are going up all the time. Prices are going up all the time. Oh, just oh yeah. I saw you. I was in the water. You stopped to talk to my auntie Beth, but by the time I got close enough to the shore, you had already left with your friend, my cousins, and I took over karaoke. Ah, damn, I miss you. Ah, that's crazy. It's crazy, crazy. Oh, I'm so sorry. Next time, next time, next time. Please shoot me a message on Instagram or something. Let me know you're coming and gotta say hello. Sorry I missed you. Nicola says, I commend your friend for being so patient and still hoping to get into his home. I pray everything works for the best. Thank you. I hope so as well. All right, let me get some good news stuff up here. All my tabs are bad news. Yeah, we got some good stuff. We got some good stuff. Let's see here. All right, this one is good. Okay, cool. All right, we'll get up another article. So some good news in hospitality. Stewart expanding AC Marriott brand to Montego Bay with new EP Hotel. Executive Chairman of Sandals Resorts International, Adam Stewart, has signed a major franchise deal with AC Marriott to construct a new AC hotel in Montego Bay, St. James. The hotel will be the second such property under his leadership and the European plan hotel of its kind in the nation's tourism capital. The 168-room development will be built on the site of the former Sandals Carlisle on Kent Avenue, which Stewart plans to demolish. The new property is expected to help spearhead the revitalization of Montego's famed hip strip, positioned as a stylish business hotel just 4 minutes from Sanchez International Airport. The property will offer structured parking, a conference facility for up to 200 people, and uninterrupted views of what Stewart describes as the prettiest water ever in Montego Bay. Airport shuttles will be available, making it one of the most conveniently located accommodations for both local and international travelers. This will be the world's best AC, Stewart told the Gleaner. From the double vaulted lobby to the sky deck and bar overlooking the turquoise water, we're creating a product that embodies the spirit of Montego Bay while elevating the great experience. The EP model, Stewart explained, is a strategic move designed to align with the evolution of the hip strip, offering guests flexibility in dining and entertainment while fostering partnerships with surrounding businesses. The hip strip has long needed an EP hotel that blends business and leisure, stated Stewart. The property is expected to generate employment for approximately 400 people during its development and operational phases. Demolition of the existing structure will commence later this year, with construction slated to begin by the end of 2025. The hotel is projected to open the summer of 2027. Stewart noted that the hotel will feature ocean view rooms throughout, thanks to a strategic design shift towards the adjacent Dennis Morgan property. The architecture will mirror the sleek contemporary AC aesthetics seen in Kingston with a Montego Bay twist. Coastal tones will move the cobalt to teal, reflecting the vibrant blues of the Caribbean Sea. I think that's amazing. That's awesome. If you haven't been to the AC Hotel, I was in Kingston last week. I went there for lunch, I think Thursday. Yeah, no, was it Thursday? No, I went there for lunch on Wednesday. And I was saying to my friend who I was having lunch with, just how this one property just transformed a whole city. And it is like, it's a beautiful hotel, and it's almost like the central of like wanting to be seen in Kingston. Like if that's where you want to, like if you want to see a celebrity or you want to see somebody famous, like that's where you're gonna go, whether it's during the day or at night going for a drink or something like that. That's it. Like that is like has become the most scenic place, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a Kingstonian, but like when I go there to Kingston, that's like the place that I think of. And it's just kind of shifted like it kind of just shifted like where things happen. Like when I was in Kingston for the Grand Slam event, like I didn't know where the athletes were going to stay, but I knew they were staying there. And so I just went there and like I took pictures with all, like nobody knew like who these athletes were. Like I like distance, and so like I don't think for the most part Jamaicans didn't know who these middle distance guys mostly were. And so I got pictures with all of them because I knew they'd be passing in the lobby, and I knew they'd be staying at one of the best, arguably the best hotel in Kingston right now. You know, it's the it place to stay. It's the it place to go have a drink, have lunch. And it has like so many conveniences to it. Like all of the ATL, not all of the ATL automotive, but a lot of the ATL automotive brands are there. BMW, Mini, BYD. I believe that's all that's there. And, you know, out front, you might see a Maserati, you might see a Cybertruck that's parked out. You might see a G-Wagon roll up, you know, and this is like one of those scenic places. And it's just so crazy, like how like a new entity like that could just shift things so fast and so quickly. Will that happen in and so yeah, and I just saw you, Shauna, but they have a Starbucks there too. Again, super convenient, very, very convenient. And will that happen in Montego Bay? Maybe. It's possible. It's definitely possible. And I think it's just such a cool addition to Montego Bay. And I think it's just, in general, it's just a cool addition to the tourism mix in Jamaica. So I think this is great news for Jamaica and great news for the Stewart family and tourism. James says the AC Hotel in Kingston is legit. Absolutely. Georgina says, glad AC Marriott will be coming to Montego Bay. However, I hope it's not the same as Kingston. When you are there, As a guest, you can't get a table because it's a hangout spot for everyone in Kingston. Yeah, it is it is the spot. I tell you, it is really the spot in a big way. Um, yeah, and it's just great to have a place like that. I think as a country, I think it's really really good. And yeah, didn't a place space like that didn't really exist prior. But it's just so, like I was saying with my friend over lunch, it's just so crazy how one place, one investment makes such a major shift in a community and in the capital city of a country, as a matter of fact. James Apple says their Friday night is packed at the bar. My godbrother who lives in Kingston said AC Hotel is where it's at. I've been there for a Friday night, but I'm sure that's right. I'm sure that's right. I'm sure that's right. Shauna says, I can confirm that the AC is the place to go, especially at the Starbucks is a hot spot to do work. You never know who you're going to run into or see. Like every time I go there, I'm trying to think, did I see somebody famous? Or at least like you see somebody like you think they're famous. Like that was my Wednesday. I was like, who are you kind of thing. You're somebody, but I'm not sure who you are kind of thing. But yeah, you always see people there. James says I saw Andrew Holness at AC, and my God, was the security was tight. Negril needs its own AC hotel too. Let's say I heard some things. Meant as a guest, not to mention the pool area is just open to anyone who walks into the hotel. With that said, I love to stay there because of the convenience to everything in Kingston. I don't they have a pool. I'm sure they have a pool. I didn't know that was open to people. I didn't know they had pool. Personal preference, of course, but I love the Courtly Hotel over the AC Hotel. I find the AC Hotel is a little cookie cutter US style. Just my opinion. Fair enough. James says Adam Stewart was smart to rise Grand Pineapple to an AC hotel. I didn't say it. Um, let's go. We got another. I know we got another good news. We got some other good news. Yeah, there we go. So there are direct flights coming from to and from or between Lisbon and Montego Bay, which I think is awesome. I was just there in April for the first time. I'm definitely gonna go back there at some point in time. But again, I think this is great news that's happening in Jamaica. Just getting more butts and seats. That's what we want more than anything else, so that we get more people here from all over the world. I feel like I had some more articles, but I can't even. They must be in another tab. I have so many tabs open. But I thought this was. Oh shoot! Sorry guys. Advertisement. Yeah, I thought this was great news. This is great for Jamaica and the inaugural flight. Let's read through it real quick. It's not a long article. World to Fly launches new direct flight between Lisbon and Montego Bay, Kingston, Jamaica. World to Fly made aviation history on Wednesday as its inaugural direct flight from Lisbon touched down at the Sanchez International Airport, establishing the first ever nonstop connection between Portugal and Montego Bay, Jamaica. The 10-hour flight took off from Humberto Delgado Airport and landed at Sanchez International Airport with 358 passengers and crew. This new route marks a massive step in the airline's commitment to bringing Portuguese travelers closer to a long-haul holiday destinations. World to Fly airline, the airline of World to Meet, W2M, the travel division of the Iberostar Group, will operate one flight a week from Wednesday until October 1st, 2025. Really? Why only on October? Okay. The section can be operated with an Airbus 330-300 with a seating capacity of 388, ensuring a comfortable and efficient flight experience for all passengers. But I think that's good in the sense like this is our off season. That's actually beautiful, come to think of it, because it's slow right now. It is very, very slow, which make me think of another topic. It's very, very slow right now. So this is great getting folks here during slow times. These flights are offered as part of New Blues holiday programs, a tour operated with the W2M group. The packages provide an opportunity to explore the essence of Jamaica, namely dream beaches, lush nature, vibrant culture, and an excellent selection of hotels. Bruno Leyes, managing director of World to Fly, stated the launch of this new route between Lisbon and Montego Bay reinforces our will to continue to grow in the Portuguese market and to offer our customers direct connections to dream destinations. We are committed to travel experience that is comfortable, efficient, and adapt to the profile of the holiday traveler. And Jamaica undoubtedly is an alluring proposal for those seeking adventure, relaxation, and exoticism. Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett said, "We are delighted to welcome World to Fly's inaugural flight connecting Lisbon directly to our beautiful Montego Bay. The historic flight marks a new chapter in the relationship between Portugal and Jamaica, opening our doors to Portuguese and European travelers seeking an authentic Caribbean experience." He continued, "Jamaica offers Portuguese visitors everything they desire in a tropical destination: pristine beaches, a rich cultural heritage, warm hospitality, and unforgettable experience. With World to Fly's commitment to affordable fares and convenient weekly service, we made it easier than ever before for Portuguese families and travelers to discover why Jamaica is truly out of many one people. We look forward to welcoming more than 6,000 visitors from the continental Europe, through this partnership, and we are excited about the potential to further expand this collaboration in the coming years. Jamaica is ready to show Portuguese travelers why we remain the leading destination in the Caribbean," Bartlett added. Great stuff. Great stuff. What was the other thing I was going to look up? Oh, yes, I just remembered. No, there was something else that hit me. Oh, yeah, we're talking about the slowness. So it's very slow here, right? Just Negril in general. I think I mentioned this last week. I was running the beach and I was running the beach multiple times last week, and it felt pandemic-ish. It felt pandemic-ish, just dead. No real foot trails in the sand either. And you usually see it in the morning because I'm out there before people rake the beach and properties rake the beach. And so I was talking to another hotelier, and he was just pontificating why this is happening. And he said two things, and I think both of them can be true. He's like, one, he thinks Princess Hotel is having an effect, particularly on small hotels, because they're charging a really nominal rate for an all-inclusive package for two people per night. It is hard for a smaller property to compete with, almost arguably impossible, to be honest. But we've seen this before. We saw this when Ryu came, and they were charging some crazy, crazy, crazy low prices. And so we've been here before. The other thing that he brought up, which I thought was a fascinating thought, was what's happening in the US, right? And we of course know there's a tremendous amount of uncertainty. And when I say think here's uncertainty, my mind automatically goes to finance and it goes to the markets. But I think this time the uncertainty really has to do with green cards. And I didn't think of this. And he brought it to my attention. And he's just like, you'd be surprised how many people who come to Jamaica who you think are born and raised US citizens who actually have green cards. And people are afraid to travel on green cards right now. And I was like, man, that makes so much sense. And because you hear the stories of even US citizens getting pulled in the back and going through these interrogations, people having their phones searched, and people just not wanting to go through that. Or maybe it's sorry, no, we're not letting you back. We're not validating your green card. Or you had a minor weed infraction when you were 14 years old, so you got to go back to Jamaica, or whatever it is. And people are just not willing to risk it. And so those people are just not coming on vacation. I'm like, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. So I think that's part of it. That's part of what's happening here, and why the slowness, it is what it is. And you can see it. You can see it on the beach. we're under construction right now, so we're doing what do you call it? Construction pricing, because I don't know if you hear it, but like there's a lot of banging going on above my head right now, and we're doing some refurbishing. So we're a little bit of a different situation right now, but nonetheless, it's like we still have a summer and fall to go through, which is hard. It's hard. I always say anybody can fill a hotel in Jamaica from January to March. The real skill in being a hotelier is getting people into your rooms anytime outside of that. Anyway, let's get back to good news. Sorry to go dark, so to speak, again. But this is also, I think, is a great, and I wanted to do like, this is actually what I wanted to do this session on, this stream on, was actually talking about this. Jamaican architect unveils plans for the Caribbean's most ecologically advanced resort in Westmoreland. And there are investment opportunities with this that I'm being told, from what I understand. So this is in Paradise. Does anybody know Paradise in Westmoreland? It is. oh, I've been to two parties there. I went for a Rotary. They were both Rotary parties, Negril Rotary parties. I think it was an installation party. Rotary, yeah, it was Rotary. It was many, many years ago. So beautiful, like gorgeous, gorgeous piece of property. And now they're doing an eco village here, or eco resort. But there is, from what I'm told, by a good source, that there is opportunities to invest in condominiums there. And I'm just trying to get more information as we go through. And I will, as I know, I will present it to you all. And maybe we'll even take a visit there at some point in time. But I thought this was good. I think this is great for something like this happening in on the South Coast in Westmoreland. I think it's awesome. And that's going to be like 20 minutes from the airport. It's going to be like, that's the Negril International Airport. It's going to be 20 minutes from there. So I think that's another great piece of good news of another big investment coming to this side of the island. Shauna, this friendly reminder to check your email regarding a potential idea that was discussed in Thropper's think tank. Interested to hear your feedback. Okay, I will. Yes, still have not got around to that. Thank you. Noel, hey, Throp, any news on a Little London airport? No, I actually meant to call my dude today, but I was just doing more preparation for the discussion that we had earlier, so I didn't even have a chance to call him. Yeah, I'm probably going to call him tomorrow and see what's going on, see if we can get an update on what's happening with that. If I get anything of substance, I will. Maybe we'll do that live stream this week. Other things that I can report on happening in Negril: a roundabout is being redone, and the construction started, I believe, yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know what the final design is going to look like. I got to figure that out, but it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Like, that thing has been in shambles. I personally painted that roundabout multiple years during Labor Day, and we did our best. We did our best, but it's being completely redone and restructured. So I think that's awesome. Really big thing for Negril in a big way. And it's a stone throws away from the Negril Beach Park, which they're going to be starting this year. So as soon as that construction starts, I will let you all know. But two big things for Negril. I think that's huge. I'm glad boots are on the ground, shovels are in the ground with the roundabout, and I can't wait till it's done. And as soon as the beach park starts, I will let you all know. So great things happening here. Good news. What's going on, Galloway? Kevin, thanks for joining. Jamaica said, what's the latest update on the Negril Urban Center? I heard it's planned to be developed on 45 acres of land. Do you have any insights on the exact location? Yes, I know exactly where it is. It is, I can show it to you. So yeah, I think it's closer to 40 acres. Maybe it is 45 would be great. Let me show you the screen, the map. All right, so this is Jamaica, obviously, and we're on the westernmost part here in Negril. This is the 7-mile strip of our white sand beach, and we're moving downtown. And this is the roundabout. So this is the roundabout I was just talking about. This is what they're redoing. and it's being remodeled, refurbished. I don't know what you want to call it. And we're going to move east to along Nampro Road, and the urban center. So this, I want to say it's across the street too, but this essentially is all government land. All of this White House. I'm not sure how far it goes back. Do not quote me on this, on property lines, all that. Do not quote me. But this is all government land. Um, and also, I believe along here as well, almost certain the majority of this is government owned. Almost certain, all the way down. Almost certain. And I don't know where it ends. I don't know where it begins. Don't hold me to it. But from what I understand, this is where the urban center is going to be. And I was told that basically the idea is like a downtown Negril would be shifted this way. I don't know if that still remains. This was years ago. This is years ago. I don't know if this still remains to be true. What I can tell you is when the prime minister was here in February, this is what he told. He told us in a meeting that it would be 40 acres that would be developed for the urban center, which is humongous. It's humongous in the sense of how large it's going to be, but it's also humongous for Negril, in both senses. So that's where it's going to be. Don't know when it's starting or anything like that. Don't have any insight on that at this point. Jamaica says, I remember hearing about it years ago when FCJ first mentioned it. Now that construction has started on the Bromsbrook Urban Center in Portland, could Negril be next in line? That would be amazing. That would be amazing. And these urbans, I haven't been to any of these urban centers. I've seen pictures and video. They look awesome. They look awesome, awesome, awesome. Christy DS says political unease in America is not helping the slowdown. Not at all. James says they're disrupting the job market in the United States with AI, and travel is at an all-time high in alert. Jamaica says the cost of living is killing us in the diaspora. Georgina says agreed. And thirdly, I think job security with the government is also another factor. Good point. Great point. People are holding onto their money instead of taking vacations. Yep. James Apple says, what about the disruption in the job market in the US? Because to the points made above, because at Treehouse, we are African American audience are far and few in between due to the disruption in the job market. Wow. Donna Bryce says, princess rates are set to rise substantially. Was in a meeting RE this. The rates they have right now are promo. You should see Canadian visitors rise as a redirected from U.S. travel to the Caribbean. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. We need it. We need it. And yeah, I was also suspecting the same thing with the prices of Princess, that these are introductory prices. And a lot of hotels do that. And I think it's very smart marketing. Like just get heads to beds, get people to see your product, get people to post about your product, and then eventually bring it up to market rates. Jamaica says it's outside Sav. I watched an interview with a local TV channel. Talking about the Paradise. Yep. Isn't Paradise the area that gets flooded a lot? Just asking. You know what? Yes. Yes. And I was gonna say, so was it Paradise? No, it wasn't Paradise. It's more like I guess would be considered Frome. I remember driving through there. Hold on. I can show you Paradise while we're here. New Hope. Sav. It's outside of Sav. No, Ferris Crossing. That's where it is. Ferris, not from Ferris. That's where I remember like it flooding very bad. Okay, so this is Sav here, the Sav Lamar, and Paradise. Paradise Solar Farm. As you can see, they have a huge solar farm there. Where is Paradise? I am messing up here. We're just trying to remember how I drive through here. Oh my gosh, this is bad. Hold on. duh, duh, duh. This is Little London. The area the airport's going to be, by the way, right here. FYI, because I'm lost and I'm trying to find paradise. I just want to let you know where we're going on the way. All right, let's keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going. This is Sav Manning's school. I know that. Somebody help me in the comments. Get me to paradise. Is it north from here? No, it can't be. No, it's got to be south. It's got to be south. I think we got to be down here. Somewhere over here. I'm trying to find it. Is this it? Yeah. Oh, sorry. I found it. Okay. Got it. Got it. All right. Got it. Okay. So this is it. This is Paradise. This is Paradise Park. So you see it. So as you're leaving Sav, this is where's Sav Hospital? Where are we? Where's Sav Hospital? Somewhere oh no, we're way back here. You pass Grace Food Processing, you go through, and then you go up here, and then like say if you're going to White House here, you always make this left and you see this beautiful row of these royal palms. This is paradise. And where is the river? Where's the river that I see? There's a river that goes through here. I haven't been here in a minute. Sorry. I'm like, here's a river. Beautiful river. Oh my gosh. It's hard to appreciate from this side, but this river is so beautiful, tree covered as you can see, and it runs right through the middle of the property. Beautiful area, beautiful location. Really, really hard to appreciate it from these satellite images, but it really, really is beautiful. All right, we got through it. Sorry for this for that struggle. Okay, let's keep going here. Jamaica says a well-known Jamaican architect is Gordon Gill. He has worked on several landmark projects globally, including the Pearl River Tower in China, the Masdar headquarters in Abu Dhabi. I saw the blueprint from the Ministry of Tourism. Blueprint for what there, James? I think I'm a little out of context here. 1-1 Coco Investor. I love the name. Going forward, real estate companies will need to source funds and build projects before offering them up for sale. Jewel Vass, do you know of any housing development near the proposed urban center? Yes, I do. Let's go back to our map. So let's go. All right. So urban center, Whitehall here. Let's move a little east. We are going to go over to Vista Bella. We visited this property 2 years in a row for ThropX. We're going to make it 3 years in a row for sure. And here it is right now around this bend. So this is Vista Bella. And I told you, me and my family, we bought 4 lots on this place. And they're 10,000 and change square foot lots. So quite large. And this is Negril Estate. And I'll make sure I get my bearing straight here. This is Negril Estate. And then, so this entire property, this entire development actually horseshoes right around Negril Estate. I believe it's 260 acres, if I'm not mistaken. And the developer, this is the new gas station here, which is on the property. And so the developer, what he's doing, he is developing 19 acres of commercial real estate right here on the road front, on the main road. I think that's also going to be huge. So, and the urban center is right here. So, was that a mile maybe? So right there. So very close to there. And this is call this a Throp approved development. And so much so that Throp owns lots in this development. So this is Vista Bella. If you want any contact information, I want to know more about it, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to put you in touch with the developer. Great dude, family development. He has his 2 daughters that are very much involved, and they are the next generation of this development company, and they're doing an awesome job. Few things that I really love about this development, and I'm not just saying because I own property in there, is that, and it's also very unique, is that all the electricity has been run underground. And if you've ever been through a hurricane in Jamaica, you know that the majority of the lines here in Jamaica are above ground on electricity poles. And with the high winds, that's probably one of the first services to go. And with the electricity being run underground, that will no longer be the case. You no longer have to worry about that. And so when you go there, you won't see any electricity poles. What I also really like about this is there are wide sidewalks and wide roads. These are very wide roads. I don't know if you can see it here. Very, very wide roads, and I really like and appreciate that. And great selling point for the foundation of the infrastructure, in my opinion. James says, from what they told me about the Negril Urban Center, from these ex businesses are going to be moved around into facilitate these ex businesses that are currently there. I see. I've heard that. Yeah. I hope they're in talks from now. I hope they're in talks from now. Paradise, it's next to Sav. That's right. Thank you for trying to help me. All right. In the expectation to attract more Canadian tourists, since they have basically reduced their travel to places like Florida and Texas. Yeah, I think somebody said that earlier. Thank you. Everybody's trying to help me find this place. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I think that's all of the good news that we have that I had. Um yeah. I think that's it. I'm just trying to think of other things that have been happening this week. Got some other good news on development residential developments that are coming to Negril. Um Exciting. It's so exciting. And a lot of the stuff, like I just can't reveal because I haven't got the green light by some of these owners, but there are they're medium-sized ones, and I think they're perfect for this group. But you just gotta wait till like things are approved and that they roll out certain things, and I don't want to um what would I say? Just put things out prematurely, and without the permission of these developers, of these landowners. But like some real exciting stuff is happening, and as you'll know before the public knows. Put it that way. You'll know because I'm hopefully I get the okay to talk about it before it comes out. Actually, there's three. I just remembered another one, and yeah, these are perfect developments that are, again, I think that are really for folks in the diaspora. And I know a lot of people, they don't want to come. There are some who want to come buy land and build their dream home to the exact T that they want. But there are a lot of folks too, they just want a turnkey solution. They also want to be on the beach, which I know is very, very hard right now, hard to find, almost nothing on the beach right now. So I know that's a factor. And some of these developments I think are going to meet those needs, and I'm very, very excited, very, very excited to show that, and to put that out there for you guys, and share that with you. So I know somebody had called, like, this got to be like a year and change ago. I was just leaving the hotel, and they were like antsy that they missed out on an opportunity here in the grill. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, we missed the boat." And they were trying to get their financing together very quickly so they could do it. And I just told them, I was like, "Yo, like, pump the brakes, pump the brakes." I'm like, "Relax." I was like, "I promise you, there are more coming online. You haven't missed out at all. It's still very early days." And I'm telling that to all of you guys, that it's still early days on a lot of things that are happening and a lot of things that are coming to Negril. And it's going to be very it's going to be good. Like it's at that point, like I'm going to tell you guys, okay, let's go. Let's go. It's time. It's time. It's time. It's time. And when things aren't lining up, right? And you feel like especially when it comes to finances, you feel like things are being forced for one reason or another. There's a reason for that. And there's no reason that you should be forcing it otherwise, whatever the situation is. And just know that, like, and I'm promising you now. I'm promising you now. Like there are more developments that are coming, and that are going to meet certain price points. And again, I think it's a very, very exciting time for the West. I think it's a very, very exciting time for Negril. And Tisha says, "Did you mention the residential development that Lias is doing in Negril?" No, that's one of them. So that was the third one that I just thought of. So that's very exciting, and I think that's going to be perfect as well. And I think it's going to be great for Negril, and that he got the approval for it. So I want to talk about that in detail, and maybe I can even get him on here to talk about it at a certain time, at sometime in the near future, I should say. What a time to be alive. I feel the same way. What a time to be a Negril resident. What a time to live in Jamaica. What a time to be a part of the hotel industry. What a time to be a part of the real estate industry. And it's just, I see a lot of good things coming, and of course it's not going to necessarily be a smooth ride by any means, but things are happening. Things are really, really, really great things are happening. All right, let's start to wrap up here. Canada John, what's up, Canada John? Where is the property of Foises on the map? Can you show us again? Oh, you want to see this, Canadian John, Canada John, if that's your real name? Let's see. All right, so Foises. Foises, for anybody that's confused here, it's a property. It's a villa that's being sold here in Negril on the West End. It's in the description below. We got it on my website. Click the link below, and you can check it out there. And if you have any specific questions, you can click the message format there, the message form, I should say there. But let me show you where it is. So again, this is the 7-mile strip, white sand beach of Negril, and then we're going to move down to the roundabout, and then we're going to head west end. And so this is along the West End Road, and then we are going to, where are we going to go? This is Patsy's, and then we're going to come down. I don't know the name of this road, but this is Villa Lacage Road, Villa Lacage, however you pronounce it. And you're going to come down here, and you're going to make a right here on, I don't know what the name of that road is. And this is 4Z's right here. And that is exactly where it's at. Let me see if I could bring up the website again. I'm putting the link for the villa right there in the comment section if you want to check it out. And let's get all right, here it is. Going for 1.35 million US on Negril's West End, and 9,526 square foot lot. The house is 4,300 square feet, and basement, ground floor, first floor, rooftop. As I mentioned before, you got sea view. We're talking about 5 minutes from the water, and this is what it looks like from the outside. Beautiful modern architecture. Nice garden. What else do I want to show you? This is the inside. This is the living room. Love the stairs. Really appreciate those. The floating stairs. I think those are awesome. This is a view from the kitchen looking out towards the front door. Huge pivot door. This is the kitchen. Very nice, very modern, super tall ceilings. Very, very tall ceilings, which I really, really appreciate. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful finish. And you get to come in here as a future homeowner, and you can design this in any way that you want. And like I mentioned before, we're doing I'm releasing a video next Saturday. I collaborated with Mara Watson, real estate agent extraordinaire here in the Southwest, I guess you can say, and also Amon Stewart, who's an international designer. And we walk through the home, talk about what the possibilities that you can do with the different spaces, and excited to release that on Saturday. So that's 4Z's. Check it out. It's on my website, Thought Media website, and this is from the rooftop. You can see ocean view from up there. Damn, I just realized that you didn't see any of what I just talked about. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. We're going to go back. Sorry. All right. There we go. Now I got to do that whole thing. You guys are, my bad. I need a double screen here. All right, let's start from the top. Beautiful place. This is the master bedroom. We got a bathtub right in the middle. It was really, really nice. Going for 1.35 million US, 9,500 square foot lot. You heard me say all this. Let me just get to the pictures. I think that's more important. Nice contemporary design. Beautiful. Nice big windows. Nice big pivot door. That's what I was talking about before. Huge pivot door as a front door. Also nice big driveway. This is the driveway, and the fence is an automatic gate here to get in. There's also a side entrance, but I don't think we got that on here. This is the basement. This is the helpless quarters down here. This door right here. This view from the garden. This is the side entrance, but you can't see it from this angle. But you can see here under the banana trees, the leaves, there's like a big side gate that you can use. Oh yeah, there you can see from this angle. So there's a side entrance there that can be used. Boom. Living room. This is the view that I was talking about from the kitchen looking out to the front. And beautiful kitchen. Yeah, very nice fixtures. Flowing stairs, like I said, I feel like I'm repeating myself because I am repeating myself. And let's get you to the bathroom. Let's get you to the ocean front. Sorry if I'm scrolling quickly, but you got it. If you want to go into detail, just click the link below. And I also put in the comment section there. This is the master bedroom. So this is from the opposite side of the original picture that we saw in the beginning. And let me show you the ocean view. There you go. You can see it from the top. Basically, you can see the whole Negril from up here. This is the 7 Mile here. All right. This is the helpless quarters that I mentioned before. Excuse me. All right. So that's that. Open floor plan. That's right. And I think that's it. I think that's all we got for today. This was a long one, almost 3.5 hours. I'm glad you all stuck around. Those watching on the replay, thank you for hanging out. And I think we're going to wrap there. Do we have any other announcements? Oh, yeah, we're doing, as I mentioned before, we're doing a special here, Travelers. If you book before June 30th, we're doing, hold on, let me say the right thing. I think it's 30% off. Hold on. Don't hold me to that until I bring this up. There we go. 35%. My bad. 35%. Jamaican residents get 35% off when booking before June 30th. If you're interested, you can shoot an email to reservations@tbresorts.com, or if you want to check it out on our website, tbr.travel. Would love to have you. Would love to meet you if you are around. And I'm sorry I missed you, Tish, when you were here. How unfortunate, Tisha, that I missed you. But next time, please let me know you're coming, and I won't miss you. And we will finally meet each other. And anybody else who's coming, would love to meet you. If you stay with us, we'd love to have you come by, say hello, have a meal, whatever have you. Okay, all. I think we're gonna start wrapping up there. This has been a good one. hopefully, you learn something out there, and we continue the conversation about investing, living here, moving here, all of the above. And always forget, DropX tickets are for sale November 16th to 22nd. We'd love to have you down here. I was actually making some adjustments today in a meeting about the itinerary. Very, very excited. Super, super, super excited about it, and super excited about some speakers that we're looking to get. And I think it's going to be right up the alley. We just kind of get better at doing this every single year. And so we'd love to have you come down for DropX here in Jamaica, November 16th to November 22nd. And thinking about doing, and you go to thropx.com if you want to find out more information or join the mailing list there. Would love to have you if you're interested in learning more about investing in Jamaica, investing in real estate down here, moving here. We have a great lineup of speakers and great networking with the other people who are there. I did a DropX London Connect in April, and it was just so amazing getting these like-minded group of very intelligent and ambitious, well, I would say successful people in many respects under one roof to talk about the same thing, and that is beautiful Jamaica. And we'd love to have you be a part of doing that here in Negril, here at Travelers, and to see what we have to offer on the island with our real estate tour. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Also thinking about doing DropX New York Connects. I think I'm going to do it. I haven't confirmed yet. You know, I know some people were thinking about buying plane tickets to come to New York. Have not confirmed it yet, but it's highly likely we're going to do DropX NYC Connects July 26th. It's a Saturday. Still working out details, still trying to get the support to help me do it. And I will let you know. And I don't think it's going to take too much to put together. It's, it's hometown. We got home court advantage. London was another story. Trust me. But if we do New York DropX and NYC Connect, I will let you guys know as soon as humanly possible. I'll have to make a decision within 2 weeks. So you're going to know in about 2 weeks. And I'm going to be definitely relying and leaning on the community. I know a lot of people said they would help out already. I appreciate that. So I'm going to be relying on the community to help me put this thing together and make this happen. So just put a little asterisk on Saturday, July 26th. We may or may not do something, but I'm hoping to do it. But we'd love to see you here in Negril. Anyway, everybody have a great week ahead. Thanks for joining, and I will see you same time, same place next week. Peace, everybody.